Here. Let's do this. I got a good video for you. I have all the space links. Hey, what did I miss today? I covered so much Alleviate, you're gonna have to go look at the VOD. You're gonna have to go look at the VOD, man. Go check. Trust me. Just go look. Just go look at the VOD. I got you. All right. Anyway, let's jump into space news, and we will keep working on this a little bit later. I think tomorrow I'll try to flesh out this design, the MLV design, a little bit better, the medium launch vehicle, and then we'll try to get the heavy launch vehicle figured out as well. Should be pretty good. But now we got space news and then my summer car for after hours tonight. So I will be right back momentarily. Enjoy this video about Space Station Freedom.
Hello, I'm Janine Duane. Welcome to our children's video on Space Station Freedom. This video has 3 parts: my introductory message, primarily to teachers, a social studies part that explores presidential space policies, and the children's video, Hey, What's Space Station Freedom? The NASA logo and title appear before each part to guide you when you're fast forwarding. Having been in the classroom for many years, I know that it's the questions students ask which facilitate the learning process. In order to excite questions, there must be interest in the subject. This is why curriculum designers use the technique of weaving learning into a unit with subject matter of proven interest, such as the ubiquitous dinosaur. However, interest is heightened if the subject matter is also relevant. Studies have shown that the human role in space and the knowledge needed, science, math, and technology, is relevant in today's world and will be even more relevant in the future. By the time Space Station Freedom is permanently occupied in the year 2000, the middle school child viewing this video today will be about ready to graduate from college. Will that child be working on Space Station Freedom? Very possibly. This video is intended to be a classroom tool. Space provides an excellent basis for curriculum and captures the student's imagination in pursuit of academic achievement and practical knowledge. Just as the imagination of the children in this video takes them to a living and working environment literally out of this world, teachers can design classroom activities in support of all disciplines. What things or experience would stimulate students in response to this videotape? I personally have been asked on many occasions the question, isn't human space exploration just for scientists and engineering astronauts? To the contrary, let's take art as an example. Art has been at the forefront and sometimes the genesis of most major scientific disciplines. A scientist who discovers the most wonderful things has done nothing at all unless the discoveries have been communicated to others. In this video, you will witness the artist's conception of things which could not be photographed because they did not really happen. Only the medium of the artist's imagination made them real for us. Another activity one may explore is the multinational aspects of the project. There are 4 international partners: Canada, the European Space Agency, which represents 13 countries, Japan, and of course the United States. Each nation contributes to the program in a special way. Pins placed on each country on a map will show world participation. Curriculum possibilities on this idea seem endless. Speaking of maps, you may obtain a mission chart which plots the orbits of the shuttle and Space Station Freedom missions, because kids will want to know, can we see it? Where do we look? Get a copy of SPARK, the Shuttle Prediction and Recognition Kit from NASA, and follow the instructions. You and your students will be able to answer these questions while learning valuable mathematical concepts. Once inside Freedom, the characters in our video experience some of the problems of living and working in space. Imagine being in a constant state of free fall. How would a shower work? A toilet? How would you get around or stay put? You can't lie down in space. So, would you need a bed? Where do you get water? The questions seem endless. Freedom is described as a science laboratory in which experiments are performed which could not be performed on Earth. The students may wish to discuss the experiments described in the cartoon portion of the video. A wealth of interesting vocabulary is presented, such as solar arrays, tracking, avionics, truss, propulsion, and node, to mention a few. Finding definitions and investigating the technology associated with these words creates a knowledge base for students who will grow up in a time of an expanded environment beyond our planet. Ideas for classroom activities using the space theme across all disciplines have been developed by NASA's Education Division. Students are the benefactors of teachers' dreams. Let's keep this dream alive. The following segment shows a chronological series of 3 presidential pronouncements. Students may wish to research the impact of presidential leadership on space policy. Over the years, some presidents have championed the space program and had a strong influence on Congress to fund the various programs. Students may wish to study how funding for the space program is achieved, what steps must be taken by NASA to obtain the funds, and how they are spent on different programs. Now, here are 3 presidential pronouncements for study.
Now it is time to take longer strides. Time for a great new American enterprise. Time for this nation to take a clearly leading role in space achievement, which in many ways may hold the key to our future on Earth. I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. No single space project in this period will be more impressive to mankind or more important for the long-range exploration of space.
Beginning with the next flight, the Columbia and her sister ships will be fully operational, ready to provide economical and routine access to space for scientific exploration, commercial ventures, and for tasks related to the national security. Simultaneously, we must look aggressively to the future by demonstrating the potential of the shuttle and establishing a more permanent presence in space. I recently approved a national space policy statement which is being released today. Our goals for space are ambitious yet achievable. They include continued space activity for economic and scientific benefits, expanding private investment and involvement in space-related activities, promoting international uses of space, cooperating with other nations to maintain the freedom of space for all activities that enhance the security and welfare of mankind, strengthening our own security by exploring new methods of using space as a means of maintaining the peace.
In 1961, it took a crisis, the space race, to speed things up. Today, we don't have a crisis. We have an opportunity. To seize this opportunity, I'm not proposing a 10-year plan like Apollo. I'm proposing a long-range, continuing commitment. First, for the coming decade, for the 1990s, space station freedom, our critical next step in all our space endeavors, and next, for the new century, back to the moon, back to the future, and this time, back to stay. And then, and then a journey into tomorrow, a journey to another planet, a manned mission to Mars. Each mission should and will lay the groundwork for the next. And the pathway to the stars begins as it did 20 years ago with you, the American people, and it continues just up the street there to the United States Congress, where the future of the space station and our future as a space-faring nation will be decided. And yes, we're at a crossroads. Hard decisions must be made now as we prepare to enter the next century. On the 30th anniversary of this extraordinary and astonishing flight, the way to honor the Apollo astronauts is not by calling them back to Washington for another round of tributes. It is to have Space Station Freedom up there, operational and underway, a new bridge between the worlds, and an investment in the growth, prosperity, and technological superiority of our nation.
What's a space station?
It's a place where astronauts live and work.
What do they do there?
All kinds of neat stuff.
Like what?
I don't know. Let's go ask Dad. Dad, what's a space station?
Well, let's see. You know that research building that's near the Parkway? That's a place where engineers and scientists and technicians go to work, and Space Station Freedom is going to be something like that, only in space.
You mean those buildings in space?
Well, they're very special buildings called spacecraft. They provide the same kinds of things that research buildings do, like air and water, heat, laboratories, and even bathrooms.
Our neighbor, Mr. Walker, was an astronaut. Why don't we get him to tell us about Space Station Freedom?
That's a good idea. He flew in the space shuttle several times and is working on the Space Station Freedom program. I'll give him a call and arrange it.
Do you think we could get some friends to come with us?
I'm sure Mr. Walker wouldn't mind a small group.
Great.
Hi, kids.
Hi, Mr. Walker.
Kiara and Chad's dad told me that you wanted to learn a little bit more about Space Station Freedom, so I'm really glad that you had a chance to come by the office today. What I'm going to do is show you this model in some more detail, then I'm going to show you a videotape. How would that be?
Great.
Great. Well, Space Station Freedom is a place in space where astronauts from many different nations around the world will come together to live and work. Now, this model will show you how the space station goes together and what the different parts do. For example, there are 4 pressurized modules. Pressurized means they have a livable atmosphere, just like in the room around us now. 3 of the 4 modules are laboratories. The 4th module is where the astronauts eat and sleep. This is the United States laboratory module. And back here are 2 additional laboratory modules, the Columbus Attached Laboratory, provided by the European Space Agency, and over here, the Japanese Experiment Module. Up here we have the Habitation Module. That's where the astronauts will eat and sleep while they're working at the station. And down here we have the pressurized logistics carrier. This brings the supplies up to the astronauts. Over here you see the Canadian Mobile Servicing System. Now this is a robotic system that is used to help assemble the space station, and it's also going to be used over the many years of operation of the space station to help maintain it. The International Space Station Freedom is a cooperative program with many nations involved. It's going to be a research facility in space where scientists and engineers from around the world share its unique resources. The modules are all connected to the truss. The truss is really the backbone of the space station. At the end of the truss are the solar array panels. The solar panels are where the sun's light is collected and turned into electricity. Now, inside the truss structure are various components that don't need to be within the pressurized modules. Now, that's like there are components under the hood of your car that don't need to be inside the car. Electricity is used by the modules like your home uses electricity. But here on Space Station, that electricity is direct current. Excess heat leaves the space station through the radiators. Now, that's like the excess heat from your car engine is radiated out through the radiator in front of the engine compartment of your automobile. Now, this antenna is where the information about the space station and about the research and the experiments going on there is transmitted back to Space Station Mission Control in Houston and to engineers and scientists around the country and around the world. Over here is where the space shuttle docks with the space station to bring up new astronauts and fresh supplies every 3 months or so. Now, Space Station at its widest point, at the solar panels, is 243 feet wide. Its full length along the truss is 353 feet. That's longer than a football field. And when it is completed, it will weigh as much as a fully loaded 747 aircraft. This will be the largest spacecraft ever built. Now, that's about all I can tell you with this model, but I've got a videotape that I want to show you that will describe how Space Station Freedom will be assembled in orbit around the Earth over a period of several years. Let's look.
Space Station Freedom requires 17 shuttle launches to get all of the pieces into orbit. The first launch carries up one solar panel and part of the truss, or backbone. The second flight delivers another truss section and 2 propulsion modules which contain small rocket engines used to keep Freedom flying steadily. The third flight transports a cooling radiator and the Canadian robotic arm. The fourth flight delivers another truss section containing bottles of liquid oxygen and nitrogen, which are used to make breathing air for the crew. Next, the shuttle delivers a small pressurized room called a node, which contains equipment like the utility room in your house. The sixth shuttle flight brings up the U.S. laboratory. Now the station can be used for research, but the astronauts can only stay about 2 weeks because the habitation module isn't there yet. The seventh flight adds an airlock, which the astronauts will use to go outside in spacesuits. This flight adds another truss section with more radiators and antennas. The ninth flight adds a truss section and more propulsion modules containing rocket engines. The 10th flight adds another set of solar panels. On the 11th flight, another node is brought up, giving Freedom 2 utility rooms. On the 12th flight, the shuttle delivers the Japanese experiment module, Freedom's second laboratory. And on the next flight, the European laboratory is brought up. Now, Freedom has 3 laboratories. The third solar panel is brought up on Flight 14. On Launch 15, a back porch is brought up and connected to the Japanese lab. The back porch is a place to mount experiments for looking at the Earth and the stars. On Flight 16, the shuttle brings up the fully functional habitation module. Finally, the 17th flight brings a lifeboat to Freedom, called the Assured Crew Return Vehicle. Now, astronauts can come to Freedom and stay, even after the shuttle leaves. And now let's look at all 17 flights, 4 years compressed into seconds. With a permanent crew on board, international research projects will be conducted on Space Station Freedom well into the 21st century.
Well, what do you think, kids?
It was great.
Well, I think it was great, too, just having you here today and being able to tell you about Space Station Freedom and show you this videotape. So thanks very much for coming by. Your folks are going to be here to pick you up in just a little bit, so I'll be seeing you.
Bye, Mr. Barker. Thanks a lot.
Wasn't that neat?
I finally found out about Space Station Freedom.
I didn't know it takes all those shuttle flights to get it up there. My dad works on the Japanese experimental module.
Wouldn't it be great if we could be astronauts working on Space Station Freedom?
Yeah. That would be wonderful.
Endeavour, this is Launch Control. Mission Specialist status check. Report. Kiara.
Go!
Chad.
Roger, I'm go.
Donovan.
Ready.
Atsushi.
Hi, I mean go.
Nina.
I have to go too.
Roger, all mission specialists, go for launch.
10, 9, we have a go for main engine start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition and liftoff.
Awesome. Here we go. Cool.
Houston now controlling.
Roger, roll.
Roll program initiated, about 110-degree roll maneuver. Guidance confirms a good roll maneuver. 3 engines throttling back now to 65% as it passes through the area of maximum dynamic pressure. Throttle's now at 65%. APU's looking good. Velocity 2,000 feet per second. Standing by for separation of these solid rocket boosters at 2 minutes and 4 seconds. Separation of SRBs confirmed. Velocity now 4,200 feet per second, downrange 33 nautical miles.
Freedom, this is Endeavour. We have you in sight. Estimate 15 minutes to rendezvous.
Roger, Endeavour. We're ready to greet the new crew.
Okay, kids. Let's take a spin around the station before we dock to give you a better view.
Wow, look at that!
Yeah, and there's the U.S. laboratory.
Wow, look at the Canadian Mobile Surfacing System.
There's the European Columbus Laboratory. Look at those solar arrays.
There's the Japanese experiment module.
Freedom, this is Endeavour. We're starting our approach for berthing.
Roger, Endeavour.
Docking complete.
Welcome aboard, kids. Welcome aboard.
We're here at last. All right, cool.
Hi, kids. I'm Station Operator Grant Jackson. I'm working on a few electronics experiments. Welcome aboard.
Hello, I'm Payload Scientist Dr. Sheldon McCall. I'm loading some special film to record my observations.
Hello there. I'm Station Scientist Dr. Milton Smiley. I'm inspecting this rack prior to starting my test.
I'm Commander Scott. Let me show you where you'll be living. You'll have to get used to floating and moving at the same time. We're now in the habitation module, or HAB for short. The HAB will be your living quarters. Who wants to try a bunk on for size?
I do.
The crew quarters will serve as your bedroom and provide storage space for your clothing and personal effects. They have communications equipment so you can talk with your families on Earth. Now, who would like to try out the shower?
I'll try it.
The crew hygiene system is composed of a shower, toilet, plumbing, and equipment. Now, after that long trip to orbit, who has to go to the bathroom?
I do.
Well, as you can see, you're going to have to go in turn, and you'll need special instructions.
How does it work? What's that thing? Where does it go?
Forget it.
Sooner or later, you'll all be in here. Here is a healthcare area where you can exercise and monitor your health throughout your 90-day stay on board. And if you get sick, provisions are available to take care of minor accidents and illnesses. Have a seat in the galley. Here you'll be able to cook and dispense your daily meals using the galley's microwave and convection ovens, beverage dispensers, and food preparation counters. There's also a dishwasher so you can clean up your mess. After your meals, you can sit and talk and call home. Well, that completes the tour of the HAB. Tomorrow, the crew and I leave, and the station will be all yours to conduct your experiments. Kiara, you'll be taking my place as commander.
Roger that.
All right.
I can't wait.
I need some sleep.
Let's get ready for a big day. Tomorrow is our day.
Well, we're on our own now, fellow mission specialists. I'm going to use a special camera to photograph plant growth. We won't always have the shuttle to resupply our food in deep space. We're going to need to grow our own food on the moon and Mars. What are you working on, Donovan?
Well, Commander, I'm installing a modified computer board into my electronics experiment. I hope to discover a faster circuit using a special chip containing material developed in the microgravity of space.
Good luck with your experiment, Donovan. What are you working on, Chad?
I'm going to examine how weightlessness affects the growth of crystals. When these near-perfect crystals are returned to Earth, they may help to identify new ways to treat illnesses. How about you, Atsushi?
I'm doing my experiment. I'm curious about how a mixture of different foods react.
That sounds neat, Atsushi. Keep up the good work. What are you doing, Nina?
I'm getting my gear together to go up to the cupola. I'm going to get a good view of Earth and Florida.
Tell us how it looks from the cupola, Nina.
Wow, look at our Earth. I can see all of Florida. I want to keep it looking that beautiful. That's a view I won't soon forget.
Well, fellow mission specialists, all good things must come to an end. Our mission is over, and we must leave our experiments for the next crew. It's time to catch a shuttle ride home.
Our turn in Space Station Freedom passed too quickly. I must continue my work at school.
I can't wait to tell the kids at school about those perfect crystals I grew.
My computer test went well, but I wish I had more time. I know my sleep will always be filled with dreams of Space Station Freedom and the view of Earth from the cupola.
Assume your positions on board the shuttle. They say the re-entry to Earth is really spectacular. This should be exciting.
Houston, go for deorbit burn.
Roger.
Houston, energy, ground track, and nav are go.
Roger. I can see Edwards from here, Houston. It sure looks gorgeous.
I'm sure it does, Rick.
And Houston, we're looking at our landing site right now. Looks pretty good.
Lots of folks waiting to see you land.
And gear down. Altitude 400 feet. Gear lock. Touchdown. Main gear down. Ground wheel coming down. Touchdown on nose gear. Rolls to a stop at the completion of shuttle mission.
Ready to go home, kids? Ready to go home?
Oh my. Wow.
What happened?
Ready to go home, kids?
Come on, us. You ready to go home?
Come on, let's go. We're running late.
Let's tell our classmates at school.
Good idea.
Did I sleep through something?
Oh.
That good, fellas? I just got back. I ran down to the Cadobes to get some food, so give me like a couple of minutes to scarf this and then we'll go.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Wait, Reno! I'm about to sound dumb. Does any rocket provider still use effectively ICBMs as its base architecture? Atlas, well, technically. But that's basically in name only. Soyuz would be the other one. Let me find another vidya real quick. Here. How about some topical stuff here from NASA? Check this out. Crew 4 training footage, boy. BRB. I'm gonna scarf this.
I just thought it was a really good call that, hey, it could be 2 modules instead of doing a quick second.
Flow of getting into the vehicle, like it's right, you're going to be coming in the top, and like for example on your side, right?
Chad, can you take care of you terminating the gas introduction?
Absolutely.
Houston and Soyuz crew, we have a reserve time of 52 minutes. That's 5-2.
So I show 11 seconds.
Soyuz crew copies. We are just based on the HDI. Looking ahead, we have a strong suspicion that the leak is in node 2. So just to make it has us go to node 1 forward, and we are putting that in work. But as I said, the HDIs show that the leak is in node 2, so we can also go ahead into the safe procedure.
Go for it.
What versus, I mean for the...
So, I just, tell you what, you run with that, I'll get the one out of Dragon.
Okay, yeah, that's great. I'm just looking ahead at
Perfect.
equipment retrieval. Is the leak kit just sitting by the hatch?
It's in, I don't know specifically, but it's going to be in this area. After the first run, so once you are in the raft, you guys will be getting out to do your lifts. So forever. NASA archives forever. Okay guys, so the 3 components we want to remember: get safe, get dry, get found, right?
Instead of me yapping, I can basically say, they'll do the sea anchor, the stand, stop collar, front port. Here's what the video was. So I think I'll do that. Now just duck and dive. Put your arms in.
Under your seat. Because all the seats are elevated and all the cargo that is right under your seat. No, just like under your knee. Just down there under the...
Alright, whenever you guys are ready. Doesn't really matter which one. Oh, really?
Streamer propellant tanks are loaded and ready for stream. So, what you're looking at here is survival training, guys. The inflatable. See the inflatable that they have there? This is survival training. This is crew 4. Waste tank evacuate. Thank you for finally giving us a hot tub stream. That's the indicator that you're clear to be pulled up. This would be from a helicopter. So this is preparing for a scenario where if they went down off course or they re-entered and the seas were rough or something and they needed to get out of the capsule quick, then you get down to the water, what you do, you get the inflatable out and go from there. Do they train in NASA facilities or SpaceX? Well, interesting thing. This is crew 4, but that's Orion's survival training. So I'm not 100% sure what that was for. Maybe they're certifying the crew on the Orion capsule as well. Nice, Terry. Your nephew works at MBL. Yeah, that's the MBL. Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of next to it, but yeah. Why the masks? They're in quarantine, guys. Astronauts, they would have the mask there regardless of COVID. Astronauts quarantine for I think it's like a month. Like strict quarantine rules, like stricter than COVID. The reason why they do that is because one time they didn't, like at the beginning of the space program, the Apollo 7 mission, they didn't quarantine, and the astronauts were fine when they launched, but one of them developed a head cold when they were on orbit. Now, the reason why I paused on that is because I want you to really think about how much it would suck to have a head cold in space. The post-nasal drip would be horrible because it wouldn't drip. It would just sit there. It would just sit there, and then it would just... They quarantine hard, man. They've been doing that way before COVID. Yep. That's right, Jan. I would assume so, Lunprod. Knowing NASA, they probably have the same equipment in. But yeah, that was just some B-roll footage that I put on there while I ate my food. Supersonic retropropulsion. Auto snort. Yep. Why were the astronauts wearing respirator masks in the pool? Not 100% on that one, Alleviate. Maybe it's necessary for survival training. I don't know. You got a toothache? No, I got something stuck in my teeth, dude. I'm about to go floss real quick, you know what I'm saying? Dude, as I get older, I notice, like, I don't know what caused it. I never used to notice if stuff got stuck in my teeth when I was younger. Now I notice. And it is annoying as hell. Here, hold on. That would be my guess, Alleviate. I think that's a good guess. Teeth move? Yeah, maybe. Maybe that has something to do with it. Or just saving it for later? Maybe your gum pockets got deeper? Well, I'll tell you what. I brush my teeth every day. I never used to do that. So maybe because yeah, dude, I never brushed my teeth when I was younger. I didn't care. Yeah, see? Nice and clean. Gaps in teeth because of decay with age. And maybe. My teeth were pretty messed up. They're pretty good now. I'd say we're alright. Yeah? Yeah? Okay, shameless plug. Take care of your teeth. Trust me. You know, people notice that. Oh yeah. People notice it. More than you'd think. Yeah, see? It's pretty good. Dude, the other thing why I gotta brush my teeth every day is this. Coffee. Coffee will stain your teeth and they will turn them brown. Brown. Yep. Spotted this in a new NASA image from the wet dress rehearsal. Hopefully we get that shot during launch. Yeah. And yeah, people look at your teeth, whether you think they do or not. They always will. And yes, they will judge you subconsciously based off of if you have bad teeth or not. I'm 100% sure of that. Yeah, can't tell. So did I. Yep. Hang on. Too much stuff down here. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, and you get large freaking bills from the dentist. That sucks. All right. I get it. And I get it. Hang on. Yeah, there you go. Look at this picture. Look at the picture of these people. Why is the dentist so important? Because you didn't notice that the guy in the center has no left eyebrow. See? You didn't, did you? Take care of your teeth, dudes. That's a good enough reason right there. Pretty crazy, right? I've seen dental ads before where the guy is going like this. He's waving and he's doing this. He's like, hey, and he's like missing a couple of teeth, right? And you didn't notice that the guy is waving and he has 6 fingers. Yeah, that's what I mean. Take care of your teeth. Trust me on that one. Andrew Pete, nice. You didn't even notice that's not his kid, huh? Yeah, see, you gotta take care of your teeth. Trust me on that one. I'm now like, because like I got that in my head, dude. Anytime I get stuff stuck in my teeth, I'm like, no, you know. All right. Anyway, let's get rid of that. All right, let me start transferring the links over here. Whoop. Yep. Thomas, there was a lot of linky binkies here. What I usually do, guys, if I can get back at a reasonable time, if the traffic doesn't completely suck, I usually brush my teeth before I turn the stream back on. Didn't have time to do it today. Now I got crap stuck in my damn teeth. Oh, Batman, jeez. Some newly released news. Oh, boy. Alright. Cool. Let me turn the air conditioner on. There we go. It's starting to get warm up here. I switched it back to the AC from just fans.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Go to throttle up. Scary! Go clean your teeth. Alright. Tier 2, 66-monther. SDS-66, November 94. Atlantis launches a cryogenic infrared spectrometer telescope studying ozone in the Antarctic. The same mission also retrieved the telescope in the same mission. Cool. Alright. Here, I'll put this on, the first bit of space news here, and I'm gonna go brush my teeth real quick. I'll be right back. It's all manual, Pearly. It's all viewer contributed and just me looking around. But I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Much better. Much better. Oh. Ah, yeah. Ah, that feels much better. All right, so let's take a look. What was this? NASA's Perseverance rover sees a solar eclipse on Mars. Cool. Much better. Hate having the screen this close to me sometimes. You screw up one side, you screw up the other. And then sometimes I back into it, which is annoying. That goes there. That goes there. Stupid chroma problems. Alright, there we go. Come on. Calm down, please. There we go. Much better. Alright, cool. That was Perseverance capturing a solar eclipse on Mars. Cool, cool. Alright, let's go to more space news. Tesla Q1 2022 financial results. Oh, is that a webcast? You know what? Let's check it. Let's check it. These are okay, Blueberry. They're not bad. I missed my metal one, but this is fine. This headset works. Clean teeth, man. Feels great. I love it. They need to use the lo-fi NASA teleconference hold music. I mean... Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Tesla's first quarter 2022 Q&A webcast.
Yes, Ben.
My name is Martin Vieca, VP of Investor Relations, and I'm joined today by Elon Musk, Zachary Kirkhorn, and a number of other executives. Our Q1 results were announced at about 3 p.m. Central Time in the update deck we published at the same link as this webcast. During this call, we will discuss our business outlook and make forward-looking statements. These comments are based on our predictions and expectations as of today. Actual events and results could differ materially due to a number of risks and uncertainties, including those mentioned in our most recent filings with the SEC. During the question and answer portion of today's call, please limit yourself to one question and one follow-up. Please use the raise hand button to join the question queue. Before we jump into Q&A, Zach will have some opening remarks. Zach?
Yeah, thanks, Martin. Just to start off here, Q1 was a challenging but extremely successful quarter for the company. Despite numerous supply interruptions, including shutdowns at our Shanghai factory and nearby suppliers due to COVID, we've continued making progress and achieved our best ever vehicle deliveries. Last quarter, we demonstrated a series of new financial records, including revenue, gross margins, operating margin, and bottom line profitability. GAAP automotive gross margin reached 32.9%, and for the first time exceeded 30% when excluding regulatory credits. Higher pricing continues to positively impact our financials as we make progress delivering cars in our growing backlog. Note that for most vehicles, our delivery wait times are quite long, thus cars delivered in Q1 generally carried pricing set in prior quarters and at levels lower than cars being ordered today. Our per unit vehicle cost increased as well. Inflation, raw material prices, expedites, and logistics costs continues to impact our cost structure. Factory shutdowns also occurred with little to no notice, hence we are unable to take action to plan those interruptions in a cost-efficient manner. Additionally, we saw a slight mix shift towards more profitable vehicles, including the Model Y. We also recognized a one-time benefit of $288 million from credit revenue relating to a regulatory change in the U.S. CAFE penalty, without of which credit revenue would have declined compared to the same period last year. The energy business has continued to be impacted by macro conditions more severely than the vehicle business. Our storage products are in need of chip supply, and new import processes have impacted supply of certain components for our solar systems, which is reflected in our solar volume for the quarter. OPEX as a percentage of revenue continues to reduce, driven by higher revenue, lower stock-based comp expense, and other items. As a result of our ongoing improvements in operating leverage, we achieved a record operating margin of over 19%. Note that commissioning costs for our factories are in R&D, as Berlin started production in late March and Austin in early April. These costs will be in automotive COGS going forward, given these factories are now producing customer sellable cars. Our free cash flows have remained quite strong, yet were impacted by working capital related to lower than planned production. Additionally, we have reduced our debt, excluding product financing, to nearly zero. Looking ahead in the immediate term, a few things to keep in mind for Q2. First, we've lost about a month of build volume out of our factory in Shanghai due to COVID-related shutdowns.
Yeah.
Production is resuming at limited levels, and we're working to get back to full production as quickly as possible. This will impact total build and delivery volume in Q2. Second, as I've mentioned before, Austin and Berlin are just starting their ramps, and thus those inefficiencies will start to flow through our gross margins in Q2. Third, we do have higher ASPs in our backlog, which will help to offset some of these headwinds. We continue to drive towards further strengthening of our financials in the second half of the year and believe our 50% or above growth rate remains achievable for the year. I want to conclude by thanking the Tesla team, our suppliers, and our new customers for a great first quarter.
Thank you very much. And Elon has some opening remarks as well.
Sure. Some of my remarks will be redundant with Zach's, but it's maybe worth repeating. Q1 was once again a record quarter on many levels, reaching the highest deliveries, profit, and an operating margin of 19%. This was despite a lot of chip shortages, many logistics challenges, and an overall difficult quarter. So I'd really like to congratulate the Tesla team on achieving record profitability and output despite many difficult headwinds, and especially the Tesla China team in our Shanghai factory. They really had significant challenges due to the COVID shutdowns, and nonetheless have been able to output a tremendous number of high-quality vehicles. And we are already back up and running with the Shanghai factory. So, as Zach said, we remain confident of a 50% growth in vehicle production in 2022 versus 21. I think we actually have a reasonable shot at a 60% increase over last year. So,
Jesus. What the hell?
Let's see.
That's ridiculous.
Obviously, we began production, as people know, with Giga Berlin and Giga Texas in the past few months. So we have two fantastic factories with great teams, and they are ramping rapidly. Now, with new factories, the initial ramp always looks small, but it grows exponentially. So, but I have very high confidence in the teams in both factories, and we expect to ramp those initially slowly, but like I said, growing exponentially, with them achieving high volume by the end of this year. So, let's see. We're also working on a new vehicle that I alluded to at the Giga Texas opening, which is a dedicated robotaxi that's highly optimized for autonomy, meaning it would not have steering wheel or pedals. And there are a number of other innovations around it that I think are quite exciting.
Johnny Cam.
But it's fundamentally optimized it's trying to achieve the lowest fully considered cost per mile or cost per kilometer, counting everything. And so it's, I think, going to be a very powerful product where we aspire to reach volume production of that in 2024. So I think that really will be a massive driver of Tesla's growth. And we remain on track to reach volume production of the Cybertruck next year. Let's see. So it's basically, once again, I'd like to thank the Tesla employees for their hard work, but also I'd like to thank our suppliers who have really gone the extra mile. We have an amazing supplier group, and I just want to say heartfelt thanks to the suppliers that have really worked day and night to ensure that Tesla is able to keep the factories running. And we're really at the early stage of our journey. We only crossed 1 million units in the past 12 months recently, and we aspire to head to 20 million units a year. So we're basically 5% along the way towards our goal. and but we're growing, very, very rapidly year over year, and remain confident of exceeding 50% annual growth for the foreseeable future, for basically several of the next years. I mean, so yeah. And then there's, of course, Optimus, which I was surprised that people did not realize the magnitude of the Optimus robot program. The importance of Optimus will become apparent in the coming years. Those who are insightful or listen carefully will understand that Optimus ultimately will be worth more than the car business, worth more than FSD. That's my firm belief. And then of course insurance is growing well. We expect to address the part shortages that limited our progress with batteries and solar. So we expect batteries and solar to also grow well this year. And basically the future is very exciting. I've never been more optimistic or excited about the Tesla's future than I am right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go to first investor question. The first investor question is, Elon has historically provided FSD timelines with not optimal accuracy. We love its optimism for 2022 release, but is there any data Tesla can share with investors to help them make their own conclusions on progress being made, interventions per mile driven, or any other data?
Sure. Well, with respect to full self-driving, of any technology development I've ever been involved in, I've never really seen more kind of false dawns or where it seems like we're going to break through, but we don't, as I've seen in full self-driving. And ultimately what it comes down to is that to solve full self-driving, you actually have to solve real-world artificial intelligence, which nobody has solved. The whole road system is made for biological neural nets and eyes. And so actually when you think about it, in order to solve full self-driving, we have to solve neural nets and cameras to a degree of a capability that is on par with and really exceeds humans. I think we will achieve that this year. The best way to reach your own assessment is to join the Tesla Full Self-Driving Beta program, where we have over 100,000 people right now enrolled in that program, and we expect to broaden that significantly this year. So that's my recommendation: is join the Full Self-Driving Beta program and experience it for yourself, and take note of the rate of improvement with every release. And we put out a new release roughly every 2 weeks. And you'll see a little bit of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but overall, the rate of improvement is incredibly quick. So,
Discovery, go at throttle up.
That's my recommendation for reaching your own assessment is literally try it.
Thank you. The second question is, how much of an impact will the production shutdown in Shanghai have in Q2? What is the timeline for localizing the Model 3 in Europe, or will newer models be prioritized in Berlin?
Well, we did lose a lot of important days of production, and there are sort of upstream supplier challenges where a lot of suppliers also lost many days of production. But our Tesla Shanghai, Giga Shanghai, is coming back with a vengeance. So I think, notwithstanding new issues that arise, I think we will see record output per week from Giga Shanghai this quarter, albeit we are missing a couple weeks. So that means that most likely vehicle production in Q2 will be similar to Q1, maybe slightly lower, but it's also possible we may pull a rabbit out of the hat and be slightly higher. But it's be call it roughly on par. But then Q3 and Q4 will be substantially higher. So it seems likely that we'll be able to produce over 1.5 million cars this year. That's my best guess. And then Model 3, it's important for new factories to be focused on and have the least amount of complexity and variation, which is why Gigable and Gigatexas are focused on the Model Y. It's from the point at which you have a factory complete and you're making a small number of units to the point where it's producing high quality vehicles in volume is sort of 9 to 12 months from start of production. So now hopefully we're getting better at that ramp, so maybe it's a little less, but to get to sort of the 5,000 a week level is typically taken us around 12 months from start of production. So.
Thank you. The next question is, how much raw material exposure do you have, measured roughly in percentage of cost of goods sold, for example, in a given quarter versus 1 to 2 years out, both direct and indirect? Separately, how do you think about price increases versus prioritizing higher mixed vehicles going forward?
Actually, on the price increase front, I should mention that it may seem like maybe we're being unreasonable about increasing the prices of our vehicles, given that we had record profitability this quarter. But the wait list for our vehicles is quite long, and some of the vehicles that people will order, the wait list extends into next year. So our prices of vehicles ordered now are really anticipating supplier and logistics cost growth that we're aware of or believe will happen over the next 6 to 12 months. So that's why we have the price increases today, because a car ordered today will arrive in some cases a year from now. So we have a very long wait list, and we're obviously not demand limited. We are production limited very much production limited.
Raw material exposure?
Yeah, just to add to what Elon is saying, there's different ways to calculate raw material exposure. I think a simple way, we estimate we're around 10 to 15% of our cost structure exposed to raw materials. And just to clarify a couple of things on that. So we've been experiencing increases in costs in general, but also raw materials for a number of quarters now. That pace picked up in Q1, so last quarter, and what we're seeing for Q2 is slightly higher than that as well. And as indices move, it doesn't impact us immediately or directly. In some cases, we have contracts with suppliers, but then as those contracts expire, we have to renegotiate them so that there can be a lag. In some cases, our contracts do directly reflect movement in commodity prices or raw material prices, but the timing in which that Tesla pays for that has a lag associated with it as well, based on the contract. And so to Elon's point, what we're trying to do here, because it's quite an unprecedented situation of raw material movement and all of these various lags and uncertainty around renegotiating contracts, is we're trying to anticipate where things will go and make sure that the pricing that we have put in place at the time that those raw material cost increases hit us, that they align, and that the company can remain financially healthy in various scenarios as we look out over the next 4 quarters.
Okay, thank you very much. The next question is, why does Tesla continue to fight dealership laws on a state-by-state basis versus taking it federal? Separately, why isn't Tesla using 800-volt architecture in its vehicles? What are the advantages or disadvantages?
Sure. Well, from a Tesla standpoint, obviously, we'd love to have federal legislation that allows direct sales in all states, but we have not seen willingness on the part of the Congress to enact such laws that would override state laws. So, unfortunately, we have to fight it on a state-by-state basis. Drew, do you want to answer that 800-volt question?
Yeah, sure. On the 800-volt thing, yeah. So it's really a case-by-case thing for the smaller platform vehicles like 3 and Y. There's some wins and losses with 800 volts. Not everything is better. And so we look at that platform, and we're not like ignoring the reality that you could go to a higher voltage, but there's nothing really encouraging us to do so on that platform. It's really about mass and power, and as you look at bigger vehicles, there are some advantages on those bigger vehicles.
Yeah, I would just quantify that. Basically, like our estimate is that going from 400 to 800 volts might save $100.
Yep.
It's not really moving the needle.
And you're changing many things.
Yes, exactly.
From the charging infrastructure all the way through the entire vehicle system.
Yes.
To get maybe $100.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, in the US, you've got 110 volts household power or voltage, and then in most parts of the world, you have like sort of 220. But really, it doesn't make that much of a difference, and appliances work pretty much as well, in say Europe as they do in the US.
Yeah.
So there's some the advantages are small, and the cost is high. Like if you say like long term, like years from now, does it make sense to probably move to an 800-volt architecture? I said probably, but it really needs a very big vehicle volume to pay for all the costs of changing from 400 to 800 volts. And then you want to continue with the...
I was just going to say, that 100 volts is also kind of like a spreadsheet exercise, right?
$100.
Sorry, $100 is roughly like a spreadsheet exercise. Like, that you have to get through the full program to the end to see that maybe it's been whittled away to 50 or less.
Yeah.
On bigger vehicles where you're talking about higher power on the charging side or higher power from the battery to the power electronics, or you need more torque, so the current requirements go up. There's a little bit more semiconductor and actual conductor savings of going to the higher voltage, and so we do consider that for Semi and Cybertruck. But for the 3Y platform, where we've got everything running and the benefit is questionably small.
Yeah, it's basically zero for robotaxi.
Yeah, for robotaxi, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. So.
No, induction. No. Sorry. No, this. So I was. Ignore.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's go to the next question. Next question is, how are the current 4680s performing versus expectations set during the battery day in terms of expected range increase and dollars per kilowatt hour?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're working in all the areas we shared on battery day. And we have sort of consistent progress across all of those areas towards achieving the 5-year cost trajectory goals for the costs within our control. But we do not control all of the commodity costs. So, that's an exception I need to call out. Similar to Model 3, it will take us several years to get rate and yield to the point where everything that we've discussed is achieved. Our priority was on simplicity and scale during our initial 4680 and structural battery ramps. And as we attain our manufacturing goals, we will layer in new material technologies we are developing and higher range structural pack revisions.
I think maybe in a nutshell,
sure.
I think probably it's fair to say that 4680 and structural pack will be competitive with the best alternatives later this year. And we think we'll exceed the best alternatives next year.
Yeah, I mean, we have some good existing proofs, right? Like we've built the facility here in Texas. Like we know how much we spent on capital equipment in the facility, and it's more than 5x less than prior technology installations. So we're saving huge on capex. on utilities and personnel, we know what those loads are and how many people are needed to run what is basically in a highly automized factory, and we have massive reductions in both of those. So, like, the cost model is well understood. It's really about rate and yield, which will come in time, as Elon said, over the course of this year and next.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the next question is, how does Tesla plan to secure raw materials required to scale to extreme size?
Yeah, so this is something we think about quite a lot. It depends what extreme size means, but so certainly if like looking at, like, say, the $5, $10, $20 million, $5, 10, 20 million vehicle levels, you really have to analyze the sort of macroeconomic, just like what is the tonnage of lithium that you need, of nickel, of iron phosphate, of graphite, separators, electrolytes, electrolyte. You really need to think of like just macro tonnage. And we need to think about this for the world as a whole, because just we want to figure out what are limiting factors for accelerating the advent of a sustainable energy future, and whatever those limiting factors are, Tesla will take action on those limiting factors. So right now we think mining and refining lithium appears to be a limiting factor, and it certainly is responsible for quite a bit of cost growth in the cells. It's, I think, the single biggest cost growth item right now, certainly on a percentage basis. Although, just for those who don't totally know this, the actual content of lithium in a lithium-ion cell is maybe around 2 or 3% of the cell. So
5 kgs a car.
Yeah, it's not 5 kilograms exactly. It's not. It's called a lithium-ion cell, but by far the most expensive and heaviest item in the cell is the cathode. So that's the nickel or the iron phosphate. So we're looking carefully at all of the raw materials and trying to figure out how we can accelerate the total amount of raw materials needed to transition the world to sustainability. And I think we've got, that we don't have enough time on this call to really go through all those details, but we are thinking about these things, and we think we'll have some exciting announcements in the months to come.
Yeah, one thing I want to call out is, like, we're also, committed to recycling at all of our cell factories. We're recycling 50 tons a week right now in Reno and ramping to 150, with all of that reclaimed material going directly back into our cathode supply chain. So we're looking at the beginning and end of life needs here.
Yeah.
And that's true. Like, since Reno, we built the Gigafactory, we started doing that with batteries. But as we built newer factories or vehicles, for example, Giga Texas here, where we are today, recycles all of its non-yielded or scrap aluminum from the stamping shop directly into the casting shop. We regrind any plastic that comes out. And so we're really concerned about raw materials, not just like mining them and consuming them, but when we get them in the door, using all 100% of them.
Yeah, Lars, that's a great point. So we're installing sort of melt furnaces for aluminum, like so for the Model Y that we build here at Giga Texas has both a front and a rear body casting. So we're casting almost 2/3 of the body, and then it's high pressure die cast aluminum, so we can take both scrap from the casting machine and the gating that comes out and put that back, just really toss that back into the aluminum melting pot, and then, as Lars was saying, also take any stampings and any other aluminum scrap and also throw that in the melting pot. And in fact, we've also figured out that we can use wheels from practically any car.
Take your wheels.
Yeah. So we're going to be recycling the cast aluminum wheels from legacy gasoline cars as well, and throwing that in the melting pot for our aluminum cast body Model Y, and and also we'll be moving to
pretty smart, actually.
the sort of cast front and rear body, in all vehicles over time. Well, actually, maybe not SX, but 3Y.
Thank you. At what rate do you expect Berlin and Austin to ramp relative to Shanghai? Are you able to leverage learnings from Shanghai, or are the processes substantially different in the new factories?
Ramp production faster than Shanghai because we have learned a lot, and we've now been through we have basically veteran teams that have seen the 3Y ramp, the Y ramp especially, in multiple locations, and we're obviously sharing what we've learned, and so we don't want to get complacent or entitled, but this should be a faster ramp because we have learned more, and we've done a lot to simplify the production process of Model Y. That should lead us to a faster ramp in Texas and Berlin. Yeah.
We also have, because structural and casting, about 30% less robots. We expect to almost double the capacity for body, for example, reducing the number of robots, but doubling our capacity in a lot of areas.
Yeah, right. The body line for the structural pack is, and if you go structural pack and front and rear castings, the body shop is body shop size drops by over 60% relative to the standard way of making a car.
And that tacks into general assembly and everything else because we have the structural battery, the floor is the battery, we put the seats on the battery, and then we put that in the car. So it's actually like between 10 and 15% less stations in GA because of the general assembly side. Yeah, because of it as well. So really, like I think about this in the way that we think about cars. If you're waiting for the best Tesla, you're going to be waiting forever. If you're waiting for our best factory, you're also going to be waiting forever because every new factory is better than the last one because we take all that learning and we throw it into it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next question is, at Cyber Rodeo, Elon mentioned that a futuristic driverless robotaxi vehicle is on the roadmap. When can we expect more details on the product offering to be unveiled? Is this something that people can own, or will this be only offered by Tesla as a service?
So I think we want to hold off on, we don't want to jump the gun on an exciting product announcement too much. So I think we'll aim to maybe do a product event for robotaxi next year and get into more detail. But we are aiming for volume production in 2024.
All right. And maybe the last question from investors is, what is the current run rate of 4680 cell production at Fremont and at Giga Texas? What do you expect run rates of 4680 to be in Fremont, at Giga Texas, or Berlin at the end of the year?
Well, Berlin is using the 2170 non-structural pack, so they're not constrained by 4680. They will transition to 4680 hopefully later this year. But current Berlin production does not require that. We also have, just as a risk mitigation, 2170 non-structural pack capability here at Giga Texas as well. But if things go according to plan, we will be in volume production with 4680. And sometime perhaps towards the end of the third quarter and certainly in the fourth quarter. Is that that's accurate?
Yeah, and the other thing I would add is, like, with the China COVID shutdown and the semiconductor bottlenecks we had through Q4 and a little bit in Q1, we have sizable cell inventory at the moment and excess cells to support the 2022 volume targets you described. So that gives us the ability to be pretty deliberate in the 4680 ramp, where we can maximize the learning step by step, take engineering downtime to upgrade key pieces of equipment, and modify the structural pack design to improve reliability, all while achieving what you just said. So
yeah, if 4680 output is not a risk to achieving 1.5 million vehicles produced this year, but it would become a risk next year if we do not solve volume production by early 2023, but we're highly confident of doing so.
Thank you very much. Let's go to analyst questions now. The first question comes from Dan Levi from CSFB. Please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for taking the questions. First, maybe you can just talk through or address what some of the drivers of cost improvement were in the quarter. Was it just further improvements within Shanghai and Fremont? Anything around sort of ongoing Kaizen that you've talked about in the past? Maybe you could just talk through what you benefited from in the first quarter.
Sure. I mean, at a high level, cars produced in Shanghai do carry a lower cost structure than cars produced in Fremont. And so as our mix of cars shift towards Shanghai, the average cost is positively impacted by that. We're also seeing some progress in manufacturing efficiencies in Fremont, particularly on the S&X side, as volume improves there. Expedites has been a huge story for the company. Q4, we had massive amounts of expedites. Q1 was still quite large, but we did make progress bringing that down some.
To mention, kudos to the Fremont manufacturing team and our associates there, because we're achieving record output at Fremont.
Yeah, the Fremont team is doing a tremendous job.
Really,
absolutely.
Back quarters. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to underweight. Like you should, the expedite situation with the crazy logistics that occurred with COVID. I mean,
yeah, and to Elon's point, the Fremont team and also the Shanghai team has been extremely dynamic with the unpredictable nature of our part arrivals, and our supply chain team, in particular, production planning portion of supply chain. We often get very little notice when there's part shortages coming, and it's kind of a scramble a couple days before that part is supposed to arrive to figure out how to get it here. And so the amount of Herculean effort that goes in to produce a quarter like Q1, and even the quarters before that, is absolutely immense. And so,
I mean, it's like there's a saying in the military, it's like amateurs talk about tactics, professionals talk about logistics when it comes to war.
Yeah. So there were some inherent cost improvements, as I mentioned, but, there's also offsets that we've talked about previously on raw materials, commodities. Outbound logistics continues to remain a challenge, despite a ton of efforts to increase capacity there and bring those costs down.
Great.
And do you have a follow-up? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Second question. One of the initial goals of Model 3 way back when was to have an EV that was affordable for a wide portion of the market. And we know prices are much higher now, just given the supply constraints. Prices are higher for all other automakers. We know that there's inflation that you're battling through, and some of that needs to be passed through to the price of the vehicles. And you're going to be supply constrained for the foreseeable future, so it's sort of a moot point. But given the goal long-term of making EVs more widely available to the masses over time, how do you look at the progression of prices over time?
We absolutely want to make EVs as affordable as possible. It's been very difficult with the, I think inflation is at like a 40 or 50-year high. And I think the official numbers actually understate the true magnitude of inflation. So, and that inflation appears to be likely to continue for at least the remainder of this year. Is what when we're talking to suppliers are under severe cost pressure. So, and in some cases we're seeing suppliers request 20 to 30% cost increases for parts from last year to the end of this year. So there's a lot of cost pressure there. That's why we raised our prices, because when things are this uncertain with respect to inflation, if you know it's high, then we've got orders that go out a year or more in some cases, then we have to anticipate those cost increases. But I think especially with the robotaxi and autonomy, I think we will end up providing consumers with by far the lowest cost per mile of transport that they've ever experienced. Yeah, I mean, with the robotaxi, like maybe 5 to 10 times lower cost per mile, it's really quite substantial.
Therefore accessible to everybody.
Yeah. I mean, looking at some of our projections, it would appear that a robotaxi ride will cost less than a bus ticket, a subsidized bus ticket, or subsidized subway ticket.
Thank you very much. Let's go to the next question from Rod Latch from Wolf Research.
Hi, everybody. I'm trying to just parse out your comments about the inflation and constrained supply and battery feedstocks and the initiatives that you are working on internally to secure these materials. It sounds like you're optimistic about Tesla's ability to solve this for Tesla. Do you see this as a constraint on EV adoption more broadly?
Yeah, absolutely. What's sort of keeping our costs down, at least in the short term, is that we have long-term contracts with suppliers, but those long-term contracts will obviously run out, and then we'll start to see potentially significant cost increases. But at a macro, sort of looking at the world as a whole and saying, okay, what does it take for Earth to transition to sustainable energy faster? It's fundamentally the fundamental limiting factor is the output of the cell, basically cell output. At what rate can lithium-ion cells increase the gigawatt hours per year? That is the fundamental limiting factor. So in order and that will move as fast as the slowest, least lucky element of the whole supply chain. Currently, we see that as being a challenge with lithium. And it's not that, to be clear, it's not that there's a shortage of lithium ore in the world. Lithium is present almost everywhere. It's a very common element. However, you still need to dig up the ore, dig up basically the spodumene or whatever the clay with the lithium, and then you need to go through a whole series of refinement steps, and that's a lot of industrial equipment that's needed to refine lithium ore to lithium that can be used as lithium hydroxide or lithium carbonate in the battery cell. So we think we're going to need to help the industry on this front. But the industry is growing fast, and I'd certainly, encourage entrepreneurs out there who are looking for opportunities to get into the lithium business. The lithium margins right now are practically software margins. I mean, I think it's something. Literally, I think there's a. I mean, Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're seeing cases where the spot lithium price is 10 times higher than the cost of extraction. So not like we're talking 90% margins here. Can more people please get into the lithium business? Do you like minting money? Well, the lithium business is for you.
So interesting. So I guess we'll stay tuned to see what happens from that. My second question is, it's impressive to see just a modest increase in cost per vehicle, cost of goods sold per vehicle, given what we've seen in terms of commodities, actually. And from here, you have a lot of savings opportunities with 4680 cells and the cell manufacturing changes, the anode chemistry, structural packs, gigacastings. Are you suggesting that even those may not be sufficient to offset the inflation that you're seeing, and that you're going to need additional pricing as well, in addition to those specific initiatives that you've called out?
Well, we hope we don't need to increase the pricing further. The current pricing is anticipating what we think is the probable growth in costs. And if that growth in cost does not materialize, we actually may slightly reduce prices. So we don't currently anticipate making significant price increases. But obviously we don't control the macroeconomic environment. If governments keep printing vast amounts of money, and if there are not significant increases in lithium extraction and refinement and the other raw materials, such that everyone's competing for a limited amount of raw materials, then obviously that will drive prices to high levels. So if you have a crystal ball that can tell us what the future is going to be like, we'll adjust accordingly. But the current prices are the current prices are for a vehicle delivered in the future, like 6 to 12 months from now. So this is our best guess.
But I think if you zoom out, right, like as you said, our mission is to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy. So like, we are working with our existing suppliers and others to figure out how to grow all of these raw materials as quickly as possible to not slow down the transition.
Yeah.
And, whether that means we have to get directly involved in some cases or not comes down to the counterparty and their willingness to expand at the rate we think they should be able to expand. And that's similar to what we've done with everything else. Like we built a gigafactory in Reno because it needed to be done.
Yeah.
And so like we will do what needs to be done to not slow down the transition. And affordability is a goal, because if it's unaffordable, it's going to retard the growth of what is inherently a good thing. So we can't have that as an outcome.
Thank you. The next question comes from Pierre Ferragu from New Street Research.
Thanks. Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Great. I'd like to ask you some questions about free cash flow. Do you so first, maybe in the long run, Elon, if you look at your performance and your growth model and your growth ambitions, I did the math very quick, and I see you guys sitting on $4 or maybe $500 billion of cash at the end of the decade. And I was wondering if it's something you have given some thoughts about.
That might be like, if inflation keeps going crazy, $500 billion might be like, $20 billion today. I don't know. So, we'll see what $500 billion buys you in a decade, but it might be a lot less. So I don't know if we'll, that seems like a lot of cash. I don't know. We'll try to do something useful with it. I mean, Jack, I don't know. It's not a really high-class problem, that's for sure.
The way I think we have to take this one step at a time. And so, we have investments that are happening right now to get Austin and Berlin up and running. And then, as Elon mentioned, installing capacity for robotaxi production. And, there's some decisions that, as Elon alluded to, just, to share in the future about what the economic model looks like. What the economic model looks like for robotaxi. And so, the way Elon and I have discussed this is...
Let's just... Maybe just, everyone just mute if you're...
Yeah, so our focus is, to get to the point where robotaxis are on the road, Optimus is in use, get the economic model for that dialed in, and then evaluate, the size of cash flows at that point and make decisions then as to what's next.
Okay, Pierre, do you have a follow-up question?
Yes.
Sorry, I think it
Okay. Let's move on. Yes.
all right. Let's go to the next one. The next question comes from Trip Chowdhury from Global Equity Research.
Thank you. Two questions I have. First is regarding the Cybertruck. And I was wondering, in terms of number of parts, how would Cybertruck compare with a traditional pickup truck in terms of number of parts? The second question I have is on Gigafactory Nevada Sparks. Will we have any production of vehicles in that factory, or all the future production will happen in Giga Austin? Thank you.
I'm not sure if we've actually done a comparison of Cybertruck parts versus regular truck parts. I mean, Lars?
Yeah, I mean, like if you want to go down to depends on what you kind of part. Like we still have cells, and they're still 1,000 cells. But like if we
that shouldn't count.
If we don't count that, like the simplicity of our structure is significant versus a traditional, pickup truck or any other vehicle. Like as we've talked about, their giga castings, we save hundreds of damn parts there.
I mean, the entire rear kind of half of the car is one casting.
And even still with the Cybertruck and the doors, for example, we have an exoskeleton design where the door is ready to take, and it takes all the side load from impact. So we really have we don't have the door reinforcements, we don't have the crash and shooting beams. So to your point, I haven't counted them because I don't often look back at old technologies to decide how well I'm doing. I check that once in a while, but in general, our architecture is always moving to reduce complexity, reduce parts, and reduce parts count. I would say, ignoring the battery cells, we're probably 20 to 30% less.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. Let's go to the next.
Nevada. Oh, Nevada. Oh, do we expect to expand? Yeah, we do expect to expand Giga Nevada. There's a lot of room for expansion there, and we do expect to increase output from Nevada. But by far the biggest increase in output will be from Giga Texas.
Thank you very much. The next question comes from Alex Potter from Piper Sandler. Alex, can you hear us?
Yes. Hi, Martin. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. So first question I had was the extent to which other plants outside of China are insulated from any further upstream supply bottlenecks that we may have in China. Obviously, if this COVID lockdown thing gets out of hand, clearly that's going to continue impacting Shanghai. But is there a point at which it could actually also impact other facilities?
Yeah, if it were to continue, but there are some parts that are sourced in China that apply worldwide, and that would impact production elsewhere. But all indications are that we're out. Giga Shanghai is back in production at fairly high levels already, and so are our suppliers. So we don't think this is going to be a big deal.
Okay, thanks. Second question. Obviously, the higher profitability you guys have been able to experience over the last couple of quarters, a lot of that is reflecting sort of quote unquote real improvements. Another part of it is because we're no longer paying you, Elon, as much as we were. So I'm wondering, the extent to which you and the board are in the process of contemplating another one of these long-term compensation packages, which in the past have seemed to work out quite well. Thanks.
There are no discussions currently underway for incremental compensation for me.
Thank you. The next question comes from Colin Langham from Wells Fargo.
Oh, great. Do you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Just to follow up, sorry to keep going on the raw material issue on the battery side, but obviously seems pretty important. Yeah, how quickly can raw material supply be built? Because my understanding takes many years to build that out. So are we just sort of when do you think we see a lithium shortage or a nickel shortage? And is there even enough time to build that sort of mining capacity in place? And then related, how quickly can you switch to like LFP, for the nickel issue?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take the LFP question. Like, and it says so in our letter, but like half of our products were LFP last quarter, which shows how quickly we were able to respond to, well, honestly, it wasn't because of a raw material shortage, but just because it seemed like the right thing to do. We could change our cathode chemistry. And there's more to be done on the cathode side, and we are actively pursuing it to give us substitution flexibility in response to market conditions between the other cathodes that are out there that can be competitive in our vehicles, of which there are many options. So, I guess what I would say is specifically on the cathode side, like flexibility is the way we're going to achieve this, and not all of the materials that go into cathodes are actually, first of all, hard to secure, like through mining or refining. And second of all, in many cases are like very plentiful already, like huge scale. And, if all of the batteries in the world use those cathodes, it's less than a 1% increase in total annual output. So that's the cathode side. I think Elon already spent a lot of time talking about lithium. It really depends on the resource. Some resources, like just getting rocks out of the ground, expanding the amount of rocks that you're getting out of the ground is, maybe a little bit of paperwork and some additional sort of blasting and trucking operations. The refining is maybe where there's, it's a little bit more chunky to bring it online, but also the refining it's not like an oil refinery. It's a much smaller operation to refine lithium out of spodumene or liquid, like a brine or a salt pond evaporation. So, you're talking about a time scale of 1 to 2 years, and it's not like we haven't been talking to all of the lithium suppliers out there for many years. They have a lot of projects already in the pipeline to come online this year and next. Some of what's going on in the lithium market this year doesn't actually have truth to bear to the fundamentals of supply and demand, which is also a little frustrating. But yeah, if we look past this year or next year and into 2030, when we need 15 to 20 terawatt hours of this stuff to, get on the growth trajectory, stay on the growth trajectory we're on, we need everybody to do more in the lithium space than they currently are. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you very much. So let's go to the last question from Mark Delaney from Goldman Sachs.
Yes, good afternoon, and thank you very much for taking the question. I was hoping you could comment on your latest thoughts about potentially opening up the charging network in the U.S. to non-Tesla owners. It's certainly really important to have a good experience for Tesla owners in terms of wait times at charging stalls. But if Tesla's able to have enough capacity, it could be a really good way to bring other vehicle owners into the Tesla network, perhaps help Tesla to sustain its network benefits and maybe make more people likely to buy Tesla vehicles in the future.
Yeah, as Elon has said, and as we've publicly committed, yeah, we do plan to provide third-party vehicle access in all over the world, not just in Europe, where our original pilot was. And we are working on solutions in North America, which is a little bit more problematic with our connector being different than others. But we are moving in that direction. I don't know if you want to add.
Yeah, I think there's like more to be said on that front. We want to do the right thing with respect to the whole system.
Mm-hmm. And we're going faster on adding chargers.
Absolutely.
Right? With the growth of the cars that we're producing and then anticipating what Drew is discussing, overall charger capacity is really important. And so the pace of our investments in supercharging has accelerated.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's helpful. And for my second question, could you share any more details on Tesla Insurance in particular as you're rolling it out in more states? Are there any metrics you can share on what take rates have been like, and how do profitability margins on the insurance offering compare to the corporate average? Thank you.
So we just launched Tesla Insurance for real-time insurance in Virginia, Colorado, and Oregon earlier this week. Maybe one stat that I'll share. So Texas is our longest-standing real-time insurance market. But based upon the information that we have, Tesla is the second largest insurer of Teslas in the state of Texas. And possibly by the end of this quarter, maybe early next quarter, we'll be the largest insurer of Teslas. And so, the customer reception to this has been quite positive. And I was reading social media on Monday after we launched in the 3 new states. A lot of folks were reporting their stories of saving quite substantial amounts of money relative to their previous insurance. And so we're quite encouraged by that, and we're working as quickly as we can to get to 80% of customers having access to a Tesla insurance product by the end of this year in the United States, at which point we'll pivot our attention to expansion outside of the US. The other thing I'll say on insurance is with these 3 new states, the model is different because we are now the underwriter and we're also now holding the risk. And so with those states, we are a fully vertically integrated provider of insurance from systems and financials. With respect to the financials of the program, it's still very early. And so, as the program gets more scale, happy to share more information on that.
And one side note is that we are seeing that having real-time feedback for driving habits is actually resulting in Tesla owners driving the cars in a safer way. So, because they can see they get real-time feedback on, okay, this is affecting my insurance rate or it isn't, and so when people can see a real-time score and realize, oh, if I make the following changes in my driving habits, then I pay less in insurance, then they have a very a real-time feedback loop for safer driving and an incentive to do so. So it is actually what we're seeing is it is causing people to drive their cars in a safer manner, which is also not good.
It's safer on average, what we see in the data, to Elon's point, and premiums are lower. We see that in the take rate data. We have extremely high retention for customers who experience the product. And I think I've talked about this in the past, but this has become a real passion program for us.
Yeah.
For these benefits, it's bigger than just the economics. We're trying to do a good thing here for our customers, save people money and make the roads a little bit safer.
Yeah, I think it improves just overall macroeconomic efficiency. It's also a feedback loop for Tesla because we see if there is a crash, large or small, we sort of see exactly what that cost, and now we think about how can we change the design of the car or the software in order to minimize the probability of that accident. Because most accidents are minor, but how do we have those accidents occur less frequently, and how do we make the repair associated with that accident super fast? Like aspirationally, it'd be like same-day repair for a collision. Which is just night and day difference compared to sometimes having to wait for a month while insurance claims are settled and figured out, and because Tesla is also doing collision repair.
But yeah, the feedback loop is instant.
Yeah.
Right. So, we do claims management in-house. And so we receive the notification that there's an accident. We work to prepare the estimate. And we can, with the support of our customers, use our collision centers to do the repair.
Yeah.
And so it's, full end-to-end visibility and all of that. To Elon's point, we can then identify areas of cost inefficiency, feed those back to engineering teams or elsewhere, software teams, actually improve the product, which lowers the cost of insurance, improves reliability of the product. So it's a full circle.
Yeah, and it's basically the customer experience is just vastly better because if there's an accident, there's no argument. We repair it immediately, and This is as compared to arguing with an insurance company and then a claims adjuster and then a collision repair center. And this can be a nightmare, basically. So we want to try to turn a nightmare into a dream with Tesla Insurance.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have this quarter. So thank you very much for all your great questions, and we'll speak to you again in 3 months.
Thank you.
Interesting. I would prefer, like, the in-house collision stuff with the Tesla Insurance is actually pretty cool, but I think it'd be better to have a third party just in case. But Tesla's kind of a little bit on the not right to repair side, and I don't like that. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's I'd like the product that I purchased should be able to work on, you know. But with the full self-driving and stuff, I get how that can be complicated and whatnot, you know. Yeah, Mutter, the in-house repair with, like, the Tesla Insurance is actually a cool idea. Like, but one, you know, you should have other insurance options, and two, you should have other body shops too. That's probably the way to keep the price down the best, don't you think? Want someone with that full Tesla knowledge messing with your ride? I mean, cars have been doing that for like 100 years. DPIC, it doesn't seem to be an issue. Like, yeah, I don't. And like, I'll be honest with you, it's not range anxiety. It's not electric cars. And I'll warn you, it's mostly just the money. But that's one of the reasons why I really don't want to buy a Tesla. Not being able to fix it myself is not. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm a fan of that. How'd the shuttle go? Was busy at work, so I couldn't watch. Hey, meddling. Dude, I got about an hour in, and I realized that would be extremely complicated. It'd be better to make stick vehicles, so. Dude, trust me, it's not worth it. And I hate that I have to admit that, but it's not worth it. Like, that's one of my biggest things with a Tesla. You know, even if I did have the money to buy a Tesla, I mean, maybe as a daily driver or something, but I wouldn't, you know, like, I don't like the fact that I can't work on something that I bought. That's really annoying. However, with the full self-driving beta and them like patching and updating the software in the car, I get that. That kind of makes sense. You know, perhaps like an option where you opt out of like full self-driving or something, and you opt out of updates like you can with the computer or whatever, right? Like, and go from there. Like, you can work on your car, but you're not going to be eligible for this. Like, you can't have full self-driving and fix your own car or something. I don't know, you know? It sucks, meddling. I'm not happy about it, but whatever. What we make is going to be just as cool. It's a big cell phone. Yeah, I don't like it. Or disabling supercharging. Yeah, right? Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty fair. You can work on the car yourself if you want, you know? Okay, but do you want a random guy messing with your car that can fully autonomously drive you into a wall at 160 miles an hour without you being able to do anything about it? What? What are you talking about? Why do you do this? What I don't understand. Nope. Yep. Are you even listening to what I'm saying, or I don't understand. I can't click on it, Edmana. I have an ad blocker on, so, you know, you're gonna ad block my view. Guess what? You're not getting my business. And I don't have any interest in reading what they have to say, either. So, yep. I'm gonna go ahead and guess from the headline that that's the video of them pulling over the self-driving car and it drives away. That's actually pretty funny. I was thinking about the worst case scenario. Yeah, but you were thinking, I just said, like, if you want full self-driving and you want to work on your car, you can't have both of those things. I think that's fair. I think that's pretty fair, considering, you know, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You want to work on your own car, you're not going to get updates from the factory, and then your Tesla won't appreciate in value. You know what I mean? And you basically void the warranty. How is that any different than any other car? That's no different than any other car. I think that's completely fair. For the record, I don't like that someone can control my car remotely. I don't think that's cool. So that's another reason why I think that's a very strange idea. That's a very strange thing, giving yourself having them have a loophole like that. I understand the needs for it for self-driving and whatnot, but I don't want a car like that. I really don't. With that being said, I ain't no Tesla hater by any means. They're really, really cool cars. They're really, really, really cool. And for the vast majority of people, how they have it set up now, it works because they sell more electric cars than I do. You know, it's pretty clear. Have you covered Ford supporting 3D printed parts? No. But yeah, I mean, that's neat. I didn't know that. Doesn't have to be a Tesla to make a throttle stick wide open. Yeah, that's true, Mutter. Yeah, I mean, it's not just that. It's all cars. Any car that has an open connection, like cars that have Wi-Fi hotspots or a cell phone signal or whatever. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't want anyone in control of that vehicle except me when I'm behind the wheel. And I don't want anybody working or touching that vehicle, except for me, because it's mine. You know? And once again, I'm not hating on Tesla by any means. That's really turning me off to buying one. I think they're really cool, but, you know, I would want a bare bones, if Tesla made a bare bones car that didn't have any of the self-driving stuff in it or whatever, it's just a battery with the motors, some seats and a steering wheel, you know. You don't even need the screen. That's what I would be more inclined to buy, you know? Of course I did, Lunchbox. I knew about the 78 F100 before Marquez. I showed it on stream for Space News. People were like, man, another pickup truck. I'm like, no, you don't understand! Yeah, Navy, I don't like that. I really don't. As a consumer, I don't really... That's the big thing that's keeping me from buying a Tesla. I won't do it. That and money. It's, you know, I need to save money for other things, but yeah, Lunchbox. I mean, and once again, here's the thing. I'm not saying everyone needs to have everyone, every Tesla has to be the way I want it. No. That's not what I'm saying at all. Just in case anybody's getting confused. If you like Tesla the way it is right now, go ahead and buy one. I will not judge anyone for that. I don't think that's right. I'm talking about what I would want as a consumer, me personally, you know, and that does not, people get confused, you know, because they think, you know, if I say I want the right to repair, I want the right to work on my own car, they think that everybody wants it. No, not everybody wants that. That's fine. Heck, I don't even want that with my phone. I get it. I got my reminder on there. I just want my phone to phone. Some people just want their car to car. I understand that. I get it. Makes perfect sense to me. With cars, though, you know, you could survive without that iPhone. It'd be weird, but you could. You could also survive with a car, without a car. That's fine. Some people don't have cars. I get it. But I think I really want the right to fix my thing that I bought, you know? Everyone should have the right to repair it. Well, like I said, I'm not I'm trying to piss in anybody's pool. If you like Tesla the way it is, that's fine. That's the one thing I fundamentally disagree on. I don't. But see, here's the thing. You can still like stuff and disagree with it. I think Teslas are really neat. The technology's so cool, you know? But yeah, with me, that's why I like buying older cars, guys. That's why I like buying older stuff, because it's closed loop. It's closed loop. No one can screw with it but me. I've been in for a while. Just want to say thank you for the awesome streams. I just defended my dissertation and will be awarded my PhD in immunology in a couple of months. As your streams got me through some tough times. Hey, that's awesome, man. Thank you. But any new car you can't fix without a dealership or coughing up thousands to fix your car. That's why my newest vehicle that I own is from 2008 Sawyer. There's a very good reason for that. I mean, there's Brimo's car, but that ain't mine. That's a lease. Congratulations, Azad. That's awesome. Cars are diverse enough for that I could probably entertain an anti-right to repair stance. Odin, like I said, if Tesla just had an option, like, okay, you can work on this, you can repair it if you want, but you're never gonna get supercharging, right? Because the liability, it's the liability. Like, I get it. I'm not stupid. Like, imagine like some punk screwing with the car and then you supercharging it and they didn't get a wire right and you plug the supercharger in and you instantly kill yourself from like 400 volts of fun, you know, like the liability is way too high. I understand that. That makes perfect sense to me. Like that, I get it. Or yeah, you don't wire something. You start fast charging that battery and it overheats because you didn't get the coolant loop right, and then your Tesla just becomes a nice big lithium bonfire in the middle of a charging station. You know, I get it. That makes perfect sense. The liability's just too high. Now, people don't understand electricity enough to do that. I get it. Maybe they will someday. But yeah, I mean, if you want to screw with the Tesla, sure. I think Tesla should be cool with that. You want to screw, you want to repair it yourself, that's fine. You're not going to be able to supercharge it. Because once again, liability is way too high. Like way too high. You'd be crazy to do that. Any idea on how to fix this? Sorry for the off-topic question. Fix what? What do you need fixed? I'm confused. I don't know what's broken, Zay. But there's so much on the Tesla that isn't novelly dangerous. The chassis. Yeah, I agree. Cerebral, that's what I mean. So maybe Tesla would get more people if they just made it basically clear. Hey, you want to work on it? Fine. You're basically doing the equivalent of voiding the warranty. You know what I mean? How's that different than any other vehicle? That's the same thing. You buy a brand new car, you go and you screw with it, and it breaks, and you take it back to the factory. You take it back to the dealership. They're gonna be like, "You messed with this. You voided the warranty. We're not helping you." That's no different than literally any other car. Wait, my boy got a whole new computer from Best Buy parts same day. Nice to see Best Buy stepping up. I was worried they were gonna fail like Circuit City, you know. Yeah, there you go. That's cool. Weed. The robotic can't lift the booster. You need more robotics then. You need to find a way to have multiple pistons in there, Zay. You stole fuzzy lifting drinks. Anyway, let's jump into more space news here. Let's see. So, back over to the space side of things. That was an interesting meeting there. Only the battery pack and high voltage, everything else. Yeah, Sawyer, I know. I know. How does that have any bearing on what I said about people not being able to charge stuff? People have trouble putting gasoline in their car nowadays. Literally take the thing, put it in the hole, pull the thing, and that's it. Somehow people get confused. Somehow. I don't understand. Somehow people get confused. Like, you don't need to tell me how the freaking Tesla works. I know how the Tesla works. I've watched people rebuild them for fun. That's what I do. You know? Like, just, That's it. It takes that long. Just that's all you got to do. This is not a hard concept. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I don't need to know that. Oh well, the rest of the systems are just regular 12. Yeah, sure, okay, great. Not the part that matters. Where the charging station. You know what I mean? Yeah, Buck. If they sourced the kit like Ford did, man, they'd sell a bajillion of those things. All right. Anyway, had an email there. Also putting gas in a Tesla. Anyway, let's jump into space news. Let's go. What an exciting day. This is coming from Dr. Z. That's coming from Dr. Zerbuchen here. Let's see what he's up to. What an exciting day. Our NASA Science and NASA Technology payloads have been integrated into Astrobotic's Peregrine lander. Oh, this is the Peregrine lander. That's the lunar lander for the Commercial Lunar Payload Services program. That's really cool. Yes, he does talk like that. Shut up. It sounds exactly like it. I don't do it out of mockery. I think Dr. Z is amazing. These deliveries will help us study the moon under Artemis and pave the way for the first woman to explore the moon. Nice. All right, let's see what we got. There's the lander in there. Closer image. Thank you very much. There it is. First lunar lander in a little while, huh? Oh, that's cool. Those are some KSP landing legs, that's right. Yep, that's a lander. It's got landing legs. That's cool, man. So inside of the tinfoil, it's not tinfoil. Inside of the gold wrap, the insulative wrap, is the propellant tanks, and then the engine's down there somewhere. One advantage of living on the other side of the pond is that I have some late night entertainment when I can't sleep. How you doing? How did the rocket design from earlier turn out? It's getting there, Tiger. Once again, I don't want to have the thing developed in one stream. I want to go slow and make sure I implement exactly what I want. Go slow now so we can go fast later. That's at least how NASA prescribes things in their systems engineering book. Sometimes they don't adhere to their own systems engineering, but hey, whatever, it's fine. But yeah, the new MLV, the Project Ares MLV, is coming along. It'll come along, and then we'll see the heavy version of it as well, which would be really cool. All right. Anyway, so that was the first shot of Astrobotic's lander. This is the first in a set of missions that are commercially provided for NASA, called the Commercial Lunar Payload Services Program. They're basically precursor missions to the Artemis program, and that's the first one. This lander is set to launch on ULA's Vulcan rocket. It should be Vulcan's first payload. Yeah, lunar lander. Pretty cool. Pretty neat. Okay. Next bit of news here is coming from Jeff Faust. Let's see. NASA's Dr. Z confirms in a panel here that Ingenuity made its 26th flight, going over the parachute from the Perseverance landing. Movie of that flight coming soon. Guys, did you know that they did helicopter on Mars? Did you know that they did helicopter on Mars? 26 times. Now that's pretty neat. They, in fact, did do helicopter on Mars. Yeah, right? It never has become less cool. I'm with you on that one. They did what? Yesterday was the anniversary of the first time, actually. The anniversary? Anniversary? Really? No, it hasn't been that long. No way. I know, it's actually pretty insane. They've been doing helicopter on Mars for a year? No. That was not a year ago. That was like 3 months ago. Help. They did a helicopter on Mars, man! A year ago? No way. What? 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 What the hell? Where did the year go? What? How did that happen? No. Yeah, Edman, yeah, you're telling me. Measure time in races you lost. It'll make it seem to run slower. That doesn't help at all. That doesn't help at all. I wonder if the grape healed up nicely. Okay, next news. I don't want to keep dwelling on that one. All right, OneWeb. Here's what. Oh, this is coming from OneWeb. What are they up to? We are pleased to confirm that we have entered into an agreement with New Space India, part of the Indian Space Research Organization, that will help to complete our satellite launch program. The first launch is anticipated later this year. Okay. What vehicle are they using? Are they going to use PSLV? Let's see. The first launch with New Space India is anticipated in 2022 from the Satish Dhawan Space Center. Okay. These launches will add to OneWeb's total on-orbit constellation of 428 satellites, 66% of the total fleet to build a 66% of the total fleet to build a global network that will deliver high-speed, low-latency connectivity. This launch contract follows a separate agreement between OneWeb and SpaceX to enable the company to resume satellite launches, announced in March 2022. OneWeb has already activated service within its network at the 50th parallel and above, as demand for the company's broadband connectivity services continues to grow for multiple sectors and markets. What's their launch vehicle? It's got to be Polar Satellite. They have to be using PSLV. Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle is what it's called. And they have GSLV, which is Geostationary Satellite Launch Vehicle. Engineers, man. Not very good with names. GSLV will be used. Yep. Yeah, the reason why OneWeb is signing these contracts with ISRO and with SpaceX is because they were launching on Soyuz, were being the operative word. And yep, that's they needed that way became technically unfeasible. So they SpaceX actually, ironically, picked up the slack, and now GSLV with ISRO will pick up more slack, so that's good. Hey, we're great with names. Don't want to get confused, do you? Well, I tell you, engineers are not good at dealing with customers. Engineers are not good at dealing with customers. Okay? People? Ew. See? Look, I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that? What the hell is wrong with you people? What the hell is wrong with you? Well, I sometimes, fax them. You physically take the specs from the customer and bring it to the engineers. What? Yeah. Well, Soyuz was a good launch vehicle. Oh, no, it still is. For now. I mean, you have watched that far too many times. Well, Stompy, there's this thing about being a loser when you're younger. You have a lot of time on your hands because you ain't using it to spend it with friends. Oh, I know. All right, cool. As long as we're on the same page there. Friends? What? This is getting too real. Yep. Let's go to the next news, man. Damn. That's 2 Space News articles that ended in existential crisis, man. No! Stop this, chat. You stop this. Is there something you're not telling me? feels Pepe, man. Damn. All right. No, this is a pretty good bit of news. Someone will end up getting cynical about this, though. But it's good news nonetheless. This one's coming from ULA here. The OFT Orbital Flight Test 2 will demonstrate the Starliner's human transportation capabilities. OFT-2 is the last major step before ULA Atlas V and Boeing's Starliner launch American astronauts to the space station for the Commercial Crew Program. They have integrated the Atlas V core for the OFT-2 mission. Yes. Yes! There we go. Oh, yeah. That's nice. There we go. So a crane lifts this bar right here, that yellow bar, up off of a truck, like a truck trailer, and they attach it to this A-frame right here, and that makes the lower pivot for Atlas. And once they do that, they attach the front to the bridge crane, which is also the 5th wheel for the truck. See, there's the hitch for it. And the jigs that make out the trailer for Atlas become the adapters so the crane can pick it up and put it on the stand. It's actually pretty cool. Does the O in OFT stand for oops, we did it again? You remember Independence Day? What is that oops? Don't do that again. What is oops? No. Don't oops. No. Don't oops. Did you base Freedom rockets off of this? The pad, rather? Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of. They're kind of based off that. I made a custom vehicle, Jax. My vehicle has the A-frame on it. I don't lift it and put it onto the A-frame. The vehicle is the A-frame. I changed some things around. But yeah, pretty much. This is part of a process for Atlas rockets called LVOS. Remember those engineering names here. LVOS is Launch Vehicle on Stand. Completing LVOS operations means that you have the launch vehicle on the stand. Yeah, it starts like that. Hey, Vulcan. Again with a fat lady. You're obsessed with a fat lady. What is this, predominant? Oops. What is this? Oop. Yeah. Yes. Don't do that again. It starts like that. Then they do that. Vulcan will be integrated in the same way. And then they do that, and then it goes up there like that. See that? That's nice. And then they place it on the launcher, and then they do the same with the upper stage, and then they do the same with the payload fairing. Yep. But Atlas's trailer is actually really freaking cool. Check it out. It has the landing gear built into it. See? Doesn't that sound nice? There's the latch point for the crane, and then there's the 5th wheel. Yeah, it just picks that whole freaking thing up. No problem. What do they call launch vehicle off stand? You done messed up, Ron. That's what they call it. Yep, so we should start seeing that mission come together real fast. But there are pictures from today's integration. That's pretty cool. Or launch vehicle off stand means that it's launching, in which case you should just call that launching or something. Speaking of launching, let's go over to launcher news. So, yesterday we covered launcher tweeting about how they're going to test their E2 engine here, and looks like we got a video. You know what? I'm turning it all the way up. Guys, if you're not into it, that's fine. You just might want to turn the volume down for this part of the stream, you know. However, if you do turn the volume up and you don't like it, you can send it right back. But also, here we go. Sometimes these are loud. I don't know if this is going to be loud. I'm just giving everybody a fair warning. Headphone users. Headphone users. Headphone users. That's loud. Ow. That was loud. Yep. Those videos are usually... Whoa! That was really loud. Damn! Hey, I gave fair warning, man. I gave fair warning. That is not on me. That's on you. Holy crap! I mean, it sounded right. The honk at the end sounded really good. Mop. Mop. What? What? I can't hear you. The first 4-second test of our 4-day E2 engine test campaign went great at Stennis. More tomorrow. For scale, the test stand on the left is as high as a 7-story building. Note the trees on the right and the covering dust cloud. Yes, very nice. Very nice. Here, let me just take a look here. Yeah, that's some good work. Hey. Oh. Oh, I wonder what that is right there. When I hear EJ say headphone users, I instinctively turn up your headphones. Stop shouting. What? What? Chad, I can't hear you. What? Can you send me your insurance details? I need to get new speakers. Hey, I said headphone users, okay? I didn't get... Speakers are not part of this equation, man, okay? Damn, that was loud. Can we listen to it one more time? I won't turn it up as much. Seriously. Yeah, I'm turning it down this time. That's nice. That's cool, man. Sounded real good, actually. Rocket engines, I mean, it's hard to tell from the audio, but with rocket engines, you really want a nice consistent ear decimation is the right way to say that. As long as the pitch on the motor, unless they're throttling it, and I don't think that they would throttle it over a 4-second test like this. If the pitch kind of stays the same, and you have a nice abrupt start, like, it shouldn't be like, you don't want to hear like, right before it starts. It should just be like, and then it abrupt shut off. Yeah, it sounds really healthy. Actually, that engine sounds really healthy. That record scratch thing that you hear at the end is them. It's the sound that the engine makes when you close the taps on the propellant. It's basically the equivalent of the engine screeching to a halt. You sound really healthy. Thank you. Yeah, that sounds really good. And yes, you can tell. Rocket engines, you'll know when the rocket engine, I mean, first of all, I can't tell fully if the engine's healthy. It sounds healthy. That doesn't mean it is, first of all. Second of all, there's some pretty telltale sounds that a rocket engine makes that means it's not working correctly. Usually it's a sight, and that sight usually involves fire. But that sounds really good. Also, they wouldn't be tweeting about it if it wasn't. Most people don't like broadcasting their failures. I mean, SpaceX notwithstanding, you know. Is it the same as the turbo noise? It's not like turbo flutter because they're moving liquids. They're not moving air. That's is the air blow off. There's no blow off on a turbo pump. You have a turbine, but your turbine is usually open cycle. I mean, it could be a film cooled turbo pump, which is closed cycle. But yeah, you wouldn't hear this because if you heard that, that means there's a leak. You don't want that. Why does this sound so then? What is this? Oh.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Yeah. That. No, it's not a pulse jet, it's Python. Here, I'll show you. Freddie! I'm not really sure that it's supposed to do that. I don't think it's supposed to do that, fellas. I don't think that was supposed to do that. What is the goal? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Thomas, if they want to run their company like that, that's fine. Just do it far away from me. Yep. Yep. If they wanna run their company like that, they can do it over there, like not near me at all. Like you can stay over there and I'll do stuff over here and just not be near you. But they said that micro jump was successful. I'm not sure if that's a pulse jet swishio or it broke or something. Rockets shouldn't really sound like that. That sounds, I mean, if I was hearing that noise with like kind of a regular kind of run-of-the-mill turbo pump engine, I would assume combustion instability, but what do I know? It's still super cool. Yeah, it's neat. It's neat. Anybody that's willing to throw their hat in the ring, you know, I respect. But 2020, at the same time, you know, John Young, you know, veteran of multiple shuttle missions, multiple Apollo missions, been to the moon twice, once on orbit, once landing, 2 Gemini missions, one of the early space pioneers that said this. Anybody that puts themselves on, you know, something that, like literally one of the biggest bombs ever devised by man, knowing that they're going to light the bottom and, you know, doesn't understand that that's dangerous, doesn't understand the situation. Yeah, I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, if you're, you know, standing that close to that thing, I wouldn't even be that close. I wouldn't even be that close inside of a blockhouse. That's just not, I mean, if that's how you want safety culture in your business, I mean, in your company, whatever, just do it far away from me. You know, this is what I mean, you know, when I say, like, you got to understand what you're making. You got to understand what this is. And, yeah. There's a reason why, you know, like, not everybody just decides to get into the rocket business, right? Because you have to... You really got to understand what the heck you're doing. And once again, maybe they do. I don't know. Yeah. If that's how you want to run your company, you could just do that over there, just not near me. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think that gatekeeping space is the wise thing to do either. You know, so that's why I said, like, hey, if you want to run your business like that, man, go ahead. I don't think anybody's going to be sorry for you when you hurt yourself on a rocket motor, you know. But, hey, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. You just do that over there, far away from me. could just go over there and just do that over there. Not near me. Because I'll tell you what, man. If I had a rocket company, we wouldn't be doing stuff like that. And if we were, it probably would not be getting posted on the internet claiming it a success. What are you... Oh my god, that's funny, man. What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, what? Come on, man. What are you doing? I hope they had hearing protection because they're probably all actually deaf. Oh my god, what are you doing? I don't, dude. Hey, you can go run your rocket company over there. Oh, you run it like that over there. Just stay away from me. You stay far away from this place, Fryman. You hear me? Far away. I couldn't keep the laughing anymore. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm gonna light this. I'm gonna stand 15 feet from it. What do you think it is? A model rocket? What are you doing? Stop saying run. Dude, I didn't want to talk about this when it came out because I wouldn't be able to laugh, man. Like you know, like I respect anybody that tries to get into this, like what Launcher is doing, for instance. That's cool, but they're doing it through the proper channels, man. They're doing it through the proper channels. They're testing at Stennis, a test stand that's out in the middle of nowhere, and even then, they could stand 10 feet away, and they still ain't doing it. You know why? Because Max Hout, the guy that invented Launcher, is not a moron. Like, he's pretty damn smart. The guy knows what he's doing. Jesus Christ. I don't get it, man. All right, okay. If that's what you want to do, just do that over there. Not near me. Oh, boy. Hey, that's what you want to do, whatever. Like, remember that flat earther who made a steam rocket to see the flatness of the Earth? I can at least respect the effort. You know what the funny part about that is, Cerebral? After he died, his family came out and said, oh yeah, no, he knew the Earth was round. He just wanted some money to fund his stunts. So in that regard, that guy's more like Evel Knievel and less like some crackpot. And you know what, man? If you have the balls to strap yourself to a freaking water heater, hey, dude, good for you, man. That guy has my respect, right? What a Chad. He conned the flat earthers into funding his freaking stunts. It's like Evel Knievel, man, but with rockets. That's actually really cool. I respect the hell out of that guy. You know? It's actually really funny. His family came out and said, oh yeah, that was all a con. He just wanted money. He just wanted money so he could build a rocket. I'm like, that's freaking awesome, dude. Faith in humanity restored. Yeah, it sucks that he went out like that. Yeah, that's why they spend a lot of time testing parachutes, guys. But hey, that guy has my respect. Yeah, that's right, Panther, you did. Oh, boy. You know, his family just come out and say it. Yeah, Hillness, I said that right when it happened, and everyone's like, no, that isn't right. I'm like, yeah, that's actually pretty cool. All right. Anyway, next bit of space news. So this one's coming from SpaceX. They static fired the Crew 4 booster, which is out at 39A in anticipation of a launch, but it looks like that might not happen right on time. Axiom 1 is still... they still have... The Axiom 1 mission is still up there, and they have unfavorable recovery conditions, so the seas are a little bit choppy. So... the seas are a little bit on the choppy side, so that kind of... Once again, I covered this a little bit yesterday, putting a little bit of a ripple... This is an interesting choice of words on my part. Putting a little bit of a ripple effect in the launch manifest. Here, I'll open up the launch manifest for you. Hey, Kick, what's going on? Keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we have Falcon 9, Starlink 42, at 11:15. That is tomorrow. We got a Starlink 12th flight of a booster 1060. So, yep, I'm going to be here for that. Actually, I'm going to set a reminder for that just in case right now. There we go. Set my reminders. Bingo. MV Shannon is out in the Gulf now, positioning itself ahead of the Axiom 1 recovery. Yep. So we got a Falcon 9 going out tomorrow, and then we got Electron trying to grab that first stage out of the sky with a helicopter, which is sweet. And then it looks like we have... Yeah, see, Crew 4 got bumped a little bit, and then another Starlink from Slick 40, like right after that. That's a hell of a turnaround right there. They're still targeting this month, but I don't know. The fastest they've ever turned around Slick 40 is a week. That was the fastest. Winds may be bad for Electron, FYI. Right on. Rocket Lab, yeah. Rocket Lab's tomorrow, dudes. Or the day after tomorrow. It's Friday. So we have Starlink tomorrow. We have Electron after that. Crew 4 was supposed to go on Saturday at 5:20 in the morning, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen. Once again, they have the booster static fired and everything, but, you know, they can't launch another Dragon up there right now. The reason why they can't launch another Dragon up there right now is because there's already 2 Dragons up there right now. Yep, there's already 2 of them. They have the Axiom 1 and the Crew 3 Dragon. They're already up there. Literally all the parking spaces are taken. Interesting problem to have. Interesting problem to have. So what you're saying is that half of all Crew Dragons are currently in space. Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. Huh. Yeah, that's not something I anticipated. But here we are. They never had 2 shuttles up there at the same time, right? Nope, never. Space Station Freedom had the capacity to do that. We learned about it, and then they just decided they didn't want that anymore. And the only mechanism that I think is around that would be able to afford them other parking spaces is at the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, Infinite. IDA 1 is some fish's house, because it was on Sierra 7, and that launched it not space. And they also want a 2-day gap between AX1 and return for Crew 4 for recovery assets to reposition again and data to be looked over. Yeah, the likelihood of Crew 4 going this weekend is extremely low. Yep. Yeah, that's extremely low. That is extremely low. Anyway, meanwhile, they did do dry dress rehearsals, Crew 4 did, on the vehicle. This was probably sometime before the static fire. This is the crew of Crew 4. Jessica Watkins, Bob Hines, Jell Lindgren, the mission commander, and Samantha Cristoforetti of the Italian Space Agency, and, well, European Space Agency. But, yep, pretty cool stuff. Yep. Hey, 3 Americans and an Italian walk into a spacecraft. I don't know where I was going with that, but hey, whatever. PMA2 is for loading and unloading only. There is no parking at PMA2. PMA3 is for loading and unloading. There is no parking at PMA3. Gabagool, indeed. Man, those suits look so bad. They're not growing on you. I don't care, Jack. As long as we're launching people into space, I really don't care. They could be dressed like bananas. I don't care. The red zone is for loading and unloading only. There's no parking in the red zone. The white zone is for loading and unloading only. There's no parking in the white zone. Seriously though, banana suits should happen. That'd be awesome. We could have launched her ourselves if Kness didn't Kness the Hermes dev. Ooh, man. Hermes to you is what Constellation is to me, isn't it, Thomas? Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. But you can call me Shirley if you really want to. I mean, I am not, in fact, a Shirley. I am an EJ. That is different. That is a different thing. It's a difference. Better than the shuttle suits? the shuttle suits.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
At least you guys get the crew part around? Okay. Hey, Gary. 46-month resub. Pumpkin suits, man. Look. Look. The pumpkin suits. You can't bump with the parking cone orange, man. Can't bump on it. Look at that. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. That is sick. And we will see a return of these with Orion. They're keeping the suits, which is... Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Dude, come on. That looks amazing. Come on now. That's what I'm talking about. Yep. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, yeah, yep. STS 135. Oh, look, a good Astrovan, something that's not a toaster. Yep. Okay, fine. You guys don't like the orange suits? What about the Challenger flight suits? Because the Challenger flight suits were literally just some coveralls with a helmet. Serious. Just saying. Very little protection. Yeah. I mean, Challenger, dude, they wanted to normalize it. Like, you know, it was just like kind of like what SpaceX is doing. Same idea. Just some quick parachute rigging and a helmet, and you're good to go. That's not good for deep res? Sure, it's fine. Do you like CNC videos? No. Oh, that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. That's cool. Anyway. Alright, what else do we got? Yeah, here we go. Here's the update from NASA regarding this. EJ, I sent a thing. Ooh, we got Mutter mail. What up, Mutter? Copy the link. Put the link over here. Uh-huh. I look like I know what a JPEG is. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. It killed the quality again. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, A7L right there. That's the EVA suit. Here. Let me, Mutter, let's try the link. See if the link does it. There we go. Now we're talking. Is the SK-1 Tim suit? Tim suit is a Russian fighter their fighter coveralls, Bill, or their old Russian fighter coveralls. So I would assume it's probably the SK-1 is probably derived from something similar. Yeah, the A7L. That's the one, man. A7LB, even better. There's the Sokol. That's what the Sokol KV2 is what they use nowadays. That's the, I mean, KV2 is just an upgraded version. And then there's the EMU, the extravehicular mobility unit. Looks better stained with moon dust. Yeah, I agree. Cool. That's cool, man. This is really high res too. Yep, there we go. This is like what they would have worn during Vostok missions and stuff. That's like what Yuri was wearing when he flew. This is these are the Mercury suits right here. The Mark IV. That's the Mercury stuff. The Gemini suit is over here, the G3C. Mark IV looks like belongs in Mass Effect. The Apollo A4. Yeah, look at that thing. Shoulder pads for days. So the RX-3 manned orbiting laboratory, that was Gemini MOL, the Air Force's manned spaceflight program. Gemini G4, oh look at that. A5. Mark V. I'm not too familiar with all the spacesuits. Like I know about the A7L and I know about the EMU and stuff like that, but yeah. Not much more. Why are there two Mark Vs? I'm not sure. Yeah, guys, we'd have to do a deep dive on suits. Here's the link. Interesting. The second Mark V has +5 armor for the shoulder pad. Ah, yes. Yes. This looks like something that you would have seen on Mystery Science Theater, I'm not going to lie. Now, these look right. Like, you think spacesuits? If I think spacesuit, I think A7L. That looks right to me. It's interesting that they don't have the shuttle flight suits on here. The shuttle flight suit, or the pumpkin suit, is derived from the SR-71. Yeah, which is derived from the U-2. Yeah, it's interesting that that's not on here. Ah, geez, I only found the legs for my power armor, dang it. Gotta get more fusion cores. Dude, remember how fun that game was? Man, Fallout. Remember those. Remember those games. Those were fun. Anyway. So here, let's take a look at this real quick. Due to unfavorable weather forecasts, we are still assessing whether it's safe to bring the AX-1 mission home from the space station. A new Crew 4 launch date will depend on this. Stay tuned for updates. Once again, yeah, traffic jam. Chrome Mercury suits. Yep. I love the way they changed power armor in Fallout 4. I agree. Yeah. Yep. I'm with you. Alright, anyway, what's the last thing that I have queued up here? NASA awards demonstration contracts to 6 companies for near-Earth space communication services. SpaceX, $69.95 on 420. God damn it. NASA awarded SpaceX a $69 million contract on April 20th. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, man. So it's interesting that there are other demonstrators. So Project Kuiper for Amazon got 67, Viasat got 53, Telesat got 30, SES got 28, and Inmarsat got 28. Interesting. What are these? Let me check the thing. What are these for? Let's see. For more than a year, the agency has been evaluating the feasibility of employing commercial satellite communications networks for near-Earth operations as it works to decommission its near-Earth satellite fleet. This approach would allow NASA to focus more time and resources on deep space exploration and science missions. The combined value of the agency's communications service project funded agreements is $278.5 million. Flight demonstrations are risk reduction activities that will develop multiple capabilities and will provide operational concepts. You think they'll get rid of TDRS? Interesting. Each company will complete technology development and in-space demonstrations by 2025. By 2025. To prove their proposed solution will deliver robust, reliable, and cost-effective mission-oriented operations, including the ability for new high-rate and high-capacity two-way communications. NASA intends to seek multiple long-term contracts to acquire services for near-Earth operations by 2030 while phasing out NASA-owned and operated systems. Man, compete in space development and demonstrations by 2025, huh? No, 2020, it's fine. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that means TDRS. Yeah, it says it in the caption. The agency would decommission TDRS to enable commercial providers to support future near-Earth communication requirements. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't like that. I don't think that's a good idea. It is expensive. Yeah. 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 It's expensive. It always is, Reboot. It always is. Is it okay for me to hate this current NASA way of thinking? Rollout failure, PR failure, RIP TDRS. Guys, I understand if NASA's going to, like, commercialize low Earth orbit, then yeah, that's fine, I suppose. I just... I don't know. I always believe that NASA should have redundant capability to commercial providers, and I think that really needs to be across the board, you know? And people are going to say, oh, well, that's just wasting money. Yeah, okay, so then why does the post office exist, right? Like, that's my running thing. That's what I always say. Why does the post office exist if FedEx does? Well, I'll give you a pretty good indicator. You guys watched New Shepard flights with me, and don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on Blue Origin. I think what they do is fantastic. Did you watch Virgin Galactic launch with me on the Spaceship One launch? Or was it Spaceship Two? That was pretty sweet. I thought that was really cool. I also think it would be good for NASA to retain in-house capabilities for reasons. I don't think making NASA beholden to a corporation for their communications, even if it is in low Earth orbit or anything, is a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea. I do not think that's going to end well. Just like, I was saying, though, the post office is redundant to like FedEx or UPS or DHL, but the post office does things that those other entities do not do. It's not just there to move your mail around. It's kind of like, it's a civil facility. And, that's not even the U.S. Every country has their own national mail system on top of private carriers. And what is moving the mail but a logistical service? What is moving things into space but a logistical service? NASA wanting to privatize everything would be like, I think it would be like if we privatized highways and stuff. I don't think that's a good idea. That doesn't seem smart. Privatizing highways does not seem like a good idea. If I always try to come up with an analogy to see if this is a good idea or not. What is space? Space is just moving stuff around. It's communications and stuff. Do we want to privatize traffic lights? I don't think that's a good idea. If roads were private, there would be tolls or a subscription service to the road or something stupid like that. Yeah. Can you imagine? Yeah, try our Super Plus Plus Road Service Advanced subscription service to drive on this road. I already have a private highway to Dulles in Virginia toll. Yes. Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah, Cornbread. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with companies wanting to make money. I don't have a problem with that. I just think that, and even in the application of space, I still think that's a good idea. I just also think that it's probably good for NASA to have their own ability to launch people into space on top of that. I don't like that NASA is beholden to corporations to launch things, because I'll give you a current example right now. There's a tourist mission up on the ISS that is quite literally impeding astronauts from getting science done up on the ISS. The other astronauts can't launch up there because the Axiom capsule is there. And I'm not hating on commercial missions either. I mean, honestly, if NASA had their own capability, maybe they would install just another docking port or something. I don't know, right? I honestly think that that's not a good idea. It has to be, if you really truly want sustainable space, you have to have some Uncle Sam has to have their fingers in the pie somehow. I think that making, NASA beholden to corporations to do anything in space it might be cheaper. I think the repercussions of that could be disastrous. Just a personal theory, Eric Johnson, socialist advocate. The tides have turned. Yeah, no, I know, right? In an emergency, who gets preferred access, public or the government? Yeah, that's what I mean. Do you really want a corporation being the only ones that have access to the surface of the moon? Does that sound right? I don't know, man. And I'm as free market as the next guy, but I don't think that that's a good idea. That doesn't sound right to me. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, NASA clearly thinks that this is the way to go, so we'll see. I personally don't think this is wise, but I honestly don't have any way to prove otherwise, but yeah. Yes, but maybe NASA realized that they don't have the money to run the entire thing, so they lay off some costs like that. Isn't one of NASA's goals to introduce commercial into space? and it would be really difficult to launch another docking port up there on the next Dragon. And would it be really... Okay, you're all over the place. Maybe NASA realized they don't have the money to run the entire thing, so they lay off some costs like that. Yeah, they're doing that because they're doing it under the guise of, you know, like, oh, commercial will do it cheaper, so we can focus our resources somewhere else. The reality of that situation, Swishio, is that we don't have the money to do both of these things, but we want to do both of these things. That's what that says to me. Second part, isn't one of NASA's goals to introduce commercial into space? Yes, absolutely. However, it's the mail van argument again. We have FedEx, we have DHL, we have UPS, but we still have the post office. And this is not something that, once again, this is not something that is just the U.S. Every country has the post office. You have a federal program, and then you have private programs on top of that. That seems to be the natural kind of progression that is required for it to be a healthy avenue. You know? Because the post office does other things than move your mail. NASA does other things than just launch things into space. Yeah, the post office is losing money every year. Of course, Beltfed. So what? So what? NASA technically is losing money all over the place, if you want to make that argument. But they don't make profit. The post office's job isn't to make profit. That's not right. That's not what they do. That's not what NASA does. NASA's profit is science, all right? And the post office is basically civilization, for the most part. Yeah, the military doesn't make money. Joey, that's a very good point. Yeah, Odin, let's not. But see what I mean? I think that this commercialization is not a good idea. I think that NASA should retain its capability, and you're going to have to do a budget increase. You're going to have to increase the budget. It's very simple. Think about it like this, guys. You want a highway that goes 10 miles, right? Or 16 kilometers, right? You want a highway that goes that far, right? It's going to cost the most to build the stupid thing, and it's going to cost a little bit more to maintain it. But, you know, this is like getting to halfway, right? Getting 5 miles or 8 kilometers in and being like, oh, we don't have the money to pay for this. We don't have the money to pay for this. Let's just privatize the rest of this road because we don't have the money to do it. At some point, you're gonna have to face a choice here. You know what I mean? Look, you're gonna have to increase the budget if you want that road, but that road being there could lead to more profits in other areas. Just like the highway system is technically at a loss, and this is once again, any transportation system is technically runs at a loss because it's subsidized by tax dollars, right? And it gets, I mean, some of them, I'm sure some are profitable somewhere. You know what I mean? I'm sure. But any avenue, like roads, trains, whatever, that's all subsidized by tax dollars in every country. That's the way it becomes viable. You know what I mean? At some point, you want more train tracks, you want more roads, you want more space flight. You have to increase the budget somehow. Well, so Tidris is made by Boeing, so this could be a similar situation. Buy some Starlink sats for cheap and NASA operates them. No, that's not what it says at all, Papa Bear. No. It says NASA's going to retire its own capability and rely on commercial providers for communications. Yes and no, Blue, but yeah, I got you. I don't know, Swishio. My guess is that they have other avenues to increase that. No, it's not, Odin. SES, Intelsat, Inmarsat, Viasat all operate at GEO. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's personally, that's what I think. If people disagree on that, that's fine. That's fair, I suppose. Yeah, that doesn't seem wise. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a wise move.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
I think because you got to be careful. Too much commercial can lead to stagnation. Too much government can also lead to stagnation. Too much commercial there's a pretty good example in any avenue of business. What happens when somebody ends up getting a monopoly, right? Like Standard Oil, for instance, 100 years ago. Good example. There's market stagnation. There's no need to innovate. There's no need to compete when you've won, right? That's a pretty good example of why you shouldn't have space be beholden to corporations. Simultaneously, at the same time, it shouldn't be all government either. The space race is a pretty good example of what happens when you have stagnation, with governments competing against each other, right? Once the Americans made it to the moon, the Soviets said, whatever. And then they said, well, we're the only ones that can do this, so yeah, we don't need this either. If you have the sole way of doing a certain thing, regardless of commercial or public, it's going to lead to stagnation. One entity is not good enough. I just spent over 3 hours in the car to hear that place that I went to go see sold over $100K. Oh, over asking. Nice. History shows that government infrastructure is required for companies to be profitable. Yeah, cornbread. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think this kind of like ants in the pants for NASA to just privatize everything is going to end well. I really don't. I mean, it might be good in the interim, but down the road, man, I don't think that's smart. But I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, Hydroline, that's pretty unlikely. But, yeah, maybe. I mean, like I said, if corporations are the only way to launch people into space, if the government doesn't have their hand in the pot somehow, they'll impede it, because the government really doesn't want civilians doing what they can't. You needn't look no further than history. I mean, yeah, this doesn't seem smart. This doesn't seem like a good idea, but who knows? I don't know better than NASA. I'm just some guy on Twitch. So that's the last bit there. We ready for some summer car? We ready for my summer car? Where's the noise? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Let's do it. I need to plug the wheel in here. Oh boy. Finland time. Here we go. Huh. Human music. I like it. Okay. There we go. I think so, Hip, yeah. Here we go. I have no idea what I'm doing with the Satsuma. Alright, what do you want me to... Okay. You have no idea what you're doing with the Satsuma. Like, okay. You just literally asked me help. I don't know how to car. Alright. What do you... Like, what do you want me to say to that? Please help me car better. Exactly. What? Okay, it's like the people that come in. Hey, EJ, what did I miss? I don't know. I don't freaking know. You didn't even tell me when the last time you were here was. How the frick do I know what you've missed? Haven't died yet, Buck. Yeah, no, we're still alive. I'm trying to make up cash to rebuild the Satsuma engine. I'm gonna completely rebuild it just to be absolutely sure. Swish. Grazie. Like, oh, hey, Jay, what's new? I don't know. You don't even know. How am I supposed to answer that, man? What do you want me to say? Start with the motor. So put the motor together. The motor. It's throwing a rad. Is that serious? Yep. I love how this car has done nothing but sit here and it's just magically denting itself. Give me the cash. Come on now, give me the cash. Is this a new save? No. I am still alive. I don't know how. We're still here, and we were driving the engine around. I got the car fully made, and then that happened. See that? See that part? See that little guy? Yeah. Oh, Bill, why? Why would you do this? Last time I watched you had $200 after paying like 3 fines. Well, we made a kill you run. And now what we need to do is, it's Sunday in game. Okay. I have more kill you cooking right now. We need 10,000. That's what we need. I need 10,000 bucks. That should be enough to build out the engine. A stretch goal would be 20 G's. If we could make 20 G's, that'd be great. But also, the poo truck is full. I have to empty that without getting fined. And we have a lot of poo to go pick up. So that's good, but we should wait until Monday to do that because the rally cars are racing right now. Okay. Apparently, I missed Robot Cantina returning to YouTube with the Harbor Freight Motor powered Honda. Many videos to watch at work. Oh, word? Nice, nice, nice. Only alternator and clutch is not new. Nice, nice. Did you get the Boeing throttle? What? What? The Boeing throttle? This? Nope. Yeah. Yeah, I did. That's not how you should, Sawyer. Okay. Ew, Airbus is clearly the superior plane. Yeah, superior if you like trash. I mean, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, someone has to fly around in a dumpster. It's like having a nice car, you know? You could have a Ferrari or you could have a Toyota Corolla. People that love